curtindo um podcast, né? Sabe o que você também vai curtir? Saber que o melhor flip de todos os tempos chegou. O novo Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, com Flex Cam, que tem zoom automático e faz selfies de 50 megapixels e com bateria estendida para nunca te deixar na mão. Vá a uma loja ou saiba mais em samsung.com.br. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6. Galaxy AI chegou.
Yo, what's up, world?
What's up, what's up?
What up?
Yo, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo. You need to take that personal.
Yo, this is KRS-One. Checking out the Take It Personal radio show.
Yo, what's up? It's Black Thought from the legendary Roots crew.
Yo, this is That G.
This is Cool Keith.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Rapping on Infamous, Mob Deep and all that. Shout out to Take It Personal.
Yeah, this is the Jizzle from the Wu-Tang, and right now you're listening to Take It Personal. Peace.
What's good, y'all? This is DJ Muggs from Cyber Shield.
Check it out. This is Chris Paul, and you're checking out Take It Personal.
Yo, what's up? This is Diamond D representing Digging in the Crates right here on Take It Personal Radio.
Yo, check it out. It's the infamous Buckwild.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is DJ Premier, and y'all need to listen on. Alright? Chill.
Yeah, what's good? It's your boy KGR. Y'all checking out Take It Personal Radio with my man Solar Flavor, Kevlar, Aaron Wade, and the boy DJ 360, you heard?
Hey, yo, this is your boy Phil Months.
Yo, what's up? This is D-Nice.
Yo, what's good, y'all? This is Master Ace.
Yeah. What up, y'all? This is Calm Sense.
Hey, yo, this is OC.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Freddie Fox.
What's good? It's your man, the original Dirty Rhyme Scoundrel, Jerry with them, to let you know you need to take it personal.
This is Take It Personal with Redman, and we in the building.
AZ.
Yo, what's up? This is Be Real, and you're blazing out to Take It Personal.
Take it personal.
Hip-hop, the way it should be.
Keep it right there, the best in hip-hop.
Spinning that fly shit, you heard? Hip-hop, stay winning. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We got coming up, like I said, Short on the Lookout, featuring that Batman Median from Justice League. Check it out, y'all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest. We have two important dudes that pretty much restored the faith in hip-hop in us on Take It Personal. We have Rappin' Big Pooh and Phonte on the show. Welcome, guys.
Peace. What up? Thank y'all for having us, man.
Of course. You know, ironically, we had you on a show many, many years ago, about 20-some years ago.
The Phil Flavor show, right? Was it?
Yes.
Oh, you remember. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Good memory. And,
I must have said something stupid for him to remember 20 years later.
What's up with all the food references, man? I love it. You know, I got a gut. I'm overweight, and I hear your songs, and I start getting hungry, man. Like Ronzoni noodles and all that, you know?
We both are just big believers in, showing up for the people that show up for us. You know what I mean? You guys were, supporting us all the way, from day one. So, when we got the call to come in, they was like, yo, y'all want to do this? I'm like, oh, these the homies from Phil Flavor. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Nice.
So,
appreciate that, man.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. That was at Florida Atlantic University. That was many, many years ago. I mean, we're
old. Lifetime ago.
And you know how that happened? I mean, you probably may not remember, but you guys, 2003, you got like some crazy review, right, on this website, which is like a hip-hop forum called Hip Hop Infinity. And your record, The Listening, got like some bad review, and you were on like a rampage, like trying to find out whatever, why this site. And I said, come on our show, let me give you an outlet. And ID's our boy, and he thought like it was a perfect fit, and at that time he made it happen. But that's how we initially got you. So 2003, man, I mean, that's over 20 years ago. So
nah, legit, man.
Yeah,
in
man.
fact, y'all still here, man, doing it. Like that's love, man. I appreciate y'all having us.
And I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, we're probably around the same age. I'm 45. I want to say, you're
45. I just turned 45 this past December.
Oh, wow.
On Monday.
You're the young one.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
So there's like a lot of similarities, I think. I mean, just from listening to your music throughout the years, I feel like, you guys are beyond relatable, but there are so many things that I think stand out as a hip hop fan. And first and foremost, you guys are like students of music. You know, you're a musician, but you have like an appreciation that goes beyond. You know what I'm saying? And that resonates in the music you guys make. And, you know, there's so much I want to talk about, but I don't want to do the usual like mundane interview. And I don't want to ask the questions about the listening or the ninth history, because, you know, we know that. And if you watch the doc, you got all the answers. But
it's all there. Yeah.
I do want this interview to be kind of like a way where maybe if we're lucky to peel back some layers and allow the listeners to maybe see a different side of you guys and either rediscover or discover Little Brother, you know, for those that may not be familiar with you guys. Because I think, you know, it's important, especially when we do these interviews, like when we had Redman on the show or Premier, whoever it is, Black Thought, we try to like expose a different side and ask maybe questions that they're not typically asked. So I hope you guys are down for that for however long we do have you. And I empathize because I'm exhausted too, Phonte. So I thank you for staying up and doing this.
There's no problem, man. No sweat.
Yeah.
Anybody else got to wake up and make turkey sandwiches for your kids' school lunches tomorrow morning?
Well, my youngest son is 18, so we passed that.
Okay.
Fucking 18 already? Damn.
Yeah. My oldest is 23, and then my youngest. He's 18. So yeah.
I remember the songs talking about, you know, looking back and my son in the car seat.
Oh yeah, nah, he been out the car seat for a long time. He's trying to convince him to get his damn driver's license now.
Time is just flying by. It's fucking weird.
Well, I got a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old, so I hear you on it being late and having to get up and do shit. So
I want to just touch on the doc because obviously that's pretty important to you guys. For me, it was kind of refreshing to see artists such as yourself show like a vulnerable side, show an honest side where you're kind of not behind the curtain, so to speak. Like what we saw was very raw and it wasn't calculated. You didn't kind of sugarcoat things. And I believe the people that watched it had a true appreciation for you guys as a group after that, because it gave closure for starters, but it gave a lot of important information and a true appreciation of what you guys had to go through. Not just your trials and tribulations, but for me, the coolest thing of that doc was seeing two dudes who started out together drift for whatever reason and come back and reunite to become something stronger and better. And to me, that was the coolest part of the doc.
It became a mess.
We got time, Jim. Jim said we got time.
And I was just like, dog, all I wanted was my favorite rap group to get back together.
Thank you for being here. It's been a journey, and I hope that if you learned anything from my journey, man, if we can get through our shit and come through and do this right here today, then anything is possible, nigga, for real. Because we had a lot of shit to work through. So I say that to say this. If there's any trouble in your life, you can work through it, you can see your way through it, and you can come out to the other side.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, you said it perfectly right there, man. I mean, I really enjoyed that documentary. In fact, I just started listening to your catalog right after, just for like 2 weeks straight. Just had them on all your albums on random, and then to have you guys here tonight, man, it's all just coming together. I like that scene where you guys are looking up at the mural at the end, man. It's like powerful. It just kind of feels like you all had that feeling of like, yeah, look what we did, you know, and this mural is gonna be here forever, right? So it was good stuff.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, that was actually, we didn't, get to fit it in the doc, you know what I mean? But that was actually our first time seeing that mural.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was our first time seeing it. We had the muralist, there's a brother named Darius Quarles. He's a local mural artist that's in Durham, and he's really dope. And they did that a couple years ago. And we had, homies hitting us, like, cats were taking pictures of it on IG, like, yo, y'all know they got a mural of y'all in Durham? I'm like, word? So for years, like neither one of us had ever went to see it. And it was just, I don't know, it was odd. Like it was just something that, I mean, of course, very beautiful and everything, but nothing prepares you for seeing your face on the side of a building that size. Like that is something that, you know, we're not, we're really not, that was just something that we never saw for ourselves. We was just making records and just trying to, you know, just make dope shit and just really just trying to be our best. No one thought that it's like, okay, you're on the side of a mural. And I was talking to my man Dart Adams, who's also in the doc, of course.
Sure.
You know, big ups to my brother Dart, man, and he understood it. He was like, you know, at the end, you know, because we're just like, whatever, we seen this shit, we got to go. And he was like, you know, he compared it to like Red Auerbach, who was the Celtics, you know, coach. You know what I mean, and he was just saying like, you know, they made a statue of him, and to him, Red, he was like, listen, I worked just a few blocks from this statue. Like I'm still working, you know what I mean? My work isn't done. You know, and why are y'all honoring me when my work isn't done, you know? And that was something I think, you know, just for me, that was a big feeling of it. It was very, it was surreal. It's like, oh my God, especially because where they got the joint at is right across the street from what used to be South Square Mall. And I used to work in South Square Mall when I was at Central.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? I used to work at goddamn S&K and Warehouse Music. And the Limited, I worked like damn near everywhere in that goddamn mall.
The Limited.
I worked everywhere, dog. So, you know, man. So it was that was our first time seeing it. And it was, you know, beautiful. And, you know, it is like to watch it's like, oh my God, like they got us on this building. But it is kind of surreal just to see, to literally face yourself. And that was one of the biggest themes of the movie, was us facing ourselves.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Pooh, what was the biggest thing that surprised you from once the documentary was released, from not just the fans, but maybe family or friends? Like, what was the one thing that maybe you didn't realize while making this that it kind of hit you after the fact?
I think the biggest thing for me was close friends and family actually getting to see a side of me or a part of me that they don't see. You know, when I'm with my family and my close friends that's not in music, we don't talk about music. We don't talk about, you know, not a lot. We don't talk about like what I do a lot. Like I'm just Thomas, you know what I mean? Like we just talk about life, or we talk about sports or whatever. And so for them to see me in that light, in that way, you know, through a documentary, I always tell the story about my mom. Like, you know, I'm my mom's son. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not this rapper. I'm, you know, she proud of me, but I'm her son. So after the documentary, she came to the premiere in DC and she saw it and she thought it was beautiful. Of course, she's in it. But after that is when she started going back and watching like all of our interviews. She hadn't watched them before then. Like, and I knew this because I got a random text. Thomas, you smoke weed? Where the fuck that come from?
Another smoke box. Leave comments. Subscribe to the channel. Fuck with little brother all day. You know what I'm saying? Let them know where they can find y'all.
Because she was watching our smoke box episode.
Would be real. Yeah.
So it was one of the things where, you know, just people getting to see me in a light that they didn't really see me in, because that's not, you know, how we operated. I think that was the biggest thing for me, was just people coming to that reality of, okay, who I am outside of who I am to them.
Yeah.
So COVID was kind of like a gift and a curse for many. Like for you, didn't this doc kind of come from like, was almost born out of that period? Like it came to fruition during this time, if I'm not mistaken. Like
the doc was already in process, like we was already making it, but COVID allowed us time to step back and really kind of figure out the movie we wanted to make. we was all over the place pre-COVID. Like we was talk about everything. We was trying to fit a whole bunch into a little bit of time, and we had no direction, you know, in a nutshell. But COVID allowed us time to step back, because you had to step back to fucking assess yourself. And as you're doing that, you know, as we were doing that, we was assessing ourselves, we were assessing, you know, reassessing our relationship with each other, reassessing the group. And that all led to us finally figuring out the story we wanted to tell for the documentary. We talk about it all the time, that people think documentaries are easy because you're just telling facts, but you still have to tell a story.
Right.
And you still have to make it compelling. You still have to make it, you know, interesting. And we wanted to tell a story that allowed people who may have never heard of us before, you know, if this was their introduction to us, to not feel like they were lost in the weeds, because we talking about a specific album and what snare was used and what sample was used.
The sample we use and all, like, that shit is a podcast, though.
That's a podcast. That's not for television consumption, you know, for visual consumption. So that's what COVID did. It really allowed us the time and space to really hone in on what this documentary needed to be about. It gave us time to redirect course. And so when we came out of COVID, we was able to, like, all them interviews were after COVID.
Yeah. We felt like it was really important, you know, because we started this in 2018, and, you know, we shot some interviews early on, you know, in 2018. But after, you know, post quarantine, you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, dude, there's no way we can have interviews in this documentary from pre-COVID. Like, that everyone's perspective changed, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that gave time, I think a lot of people time, you know, to be in the house and to really just focus on who they wanted to be moving forward. And we thought that fresh perspective was needed in this doc, you know? And so yeah, man, we shot all the other interviews, everyone that we did, you know, all our people, we gave them the questions beforehand. And, you know, Jason, to your point about it being something that was really raw, you know, we gave everyone else the questions beforehand, and our production partners, Rap Portraits, Holland Gallagher and Yo Phillips, Holland our director and Yo Phillips our writer, they were the ones that really helped us, you know, shape the narrative. We wanted outside eyes on our story. And, you know, because that's kind of what it is. It's like, you know, me and Pooh, we just state the facts. You know, we just tell, look, this is what happened. But you have someone on the outside looking at all those facts, and they shape the narrative. You know what I'm saying? They look at all those facts and say, hey, okay, I'm starting to see some patterns here. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like therapy. You know what I mean? It's very therapeutic. And so everyone else's interviews, they had the questions beforehand, but Pooh and I, we told Holland and Yo, like, we don't want our questions beforehand. We just gonna set the camera up, y'all ask the questions, and whatever come out, that's just what the fuck is coming out. And that's what y'all got. So that's what it was.
So it was cathartic for both of you guys to make this doc.
First of all, you're throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm gonna take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's been out a couple months now. Black Friday is when you dropped it. So,
yeah. Coming up on like 2 months, like 2 and some change, something like that. Yeah.
So I'm just curious. Now that it's been a couple of months, have you guys noticed or realized a big jump in downloads, sales, any particular albums, things of that nature? Has that stuff jumped up because of the exposure of the documentary?
I think so. I mean, it's kind of hard
to tell in the street, but I believe it has. I do know as people who go back and revisit the catalog, because now that, you know, you've seen the doc, you're hearing things a little differently. And then, of course, there's people who were introduced to us through the documentary, so they're going to discover the catalog. Yep. So I know it has, you know, how much, who knows, but it definitely has increased Some.
What it did for me, I'm a huge fan. You guys are my number 2.
What the fuck did you just say to me, little motherfucker?
Say it! Who's number 1?
It's 1A and 1B. Tribe Called Quest and Little Brother.
What the fuck did you just say?
What did you say? What the fuck did you just say?
Oh, man, I thought you was going to say Smiles and South Star. I was.
Oh, my God.
We're in Florida.
We number 2 behind Smiles and South Star. You know.
So what it did for me is have me go back and, not the easy one with the listening, but go back and revisit other albums like Chitlin Circuit and, The Get Back and Justice for All and stuff like that. Stuff that, like, when you start talking about Little Brother, there's a couple things you think of like right away, right? Yeah, everybody wants to talk about the listening because it was so impactful when it first came out, and then you want to talk about I'm Loving It. It's a great video, great song, classic college radio banger. But then as time moves on, it's easy, we just get consumed with all this different music. You forget about you guys got a big ass catalog. There's a lot of albums in there, and if you don't think about it for a minute, you can kind of forget to go back and revisit the other ones as well, which have a lot of jewels on them. I was just listening to one album a minute ago, and I heard 3 or 4 songs that I forgot all about that are great, like Good Clothes.
Well, no shit.
No shit.
Jams like that I haven't heard them in a minute, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that song. That's a great record.
Yeah, man. I mean, shit, it be records we done forgot about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure.
We were just cutting. Yeah, but back then, I mean, man, that we were just cutting like
so much
madman. Yeah,
so much time that in reality, a lot of that was done in like a 6-7 year period, and you don't really like. I had to think about it. Like, damn, we did a lot of that in a short amount of time. Like, we were fucking in the gym shooting all the shots. Like,
yeah. And it wasn't until we were doing the doc and just kind of actually looking at our documentary, and when I even looking at the documentary, but looking at our discography, and it was like, damn, sometimes we would put out multiple projects a year, like the solo, then I do Foreign Exchange, then we came with Minstrel Show, then Pooh did Sleepers, then we just kind of had that moment of looking at it. It's like, damn, no wonder we were burnt the fuck out on each other. You know what I mean? No wonder we was just, just over that shit, because there was no way to kind of pace ourselves, or there was no one there to kind of say like, hey man, what y'all boys just kind of, y'all ain't gotta, you can be a little more strategic about this. All we knew was that we just had to make it, and we wanted our music to be heard, and we didn't have the big budgets. We weren't coming out of a city, we weren't coming out of like a Brooklyn or like a LA or even like a Chicago or whatever. Like, we weren't coming from a city that was known for hip hop in that way. But we just knew we can't win with big budgets or, big headlines or whatever. The only thing we can win with is our music and consistency. Like, just, we got to be consistent, you know what I mean? And that was the frame of mind that I was in at that time.
And at the same time, as all this was going on, there was also, because I burned them on CD. You had a Justice League Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. How many volumes were there? There were several.
Those were illegal put together projects. So it was like Tupac albums after he died. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like Machiavelli 8 or some shit. Like,
I was wondering how much did you guys have involvement in putting all that together, because it did feel like just random mixtapes.
Yeah, the only one that we put together was the NC State of Mind, the Justice League Volume 1 and 2, the double mixtape that we did on Hip Hop Site at the time. And, we put that one together. I mean, that was us, you know what I'm saying? That was me and Ninth. Like, I sequenced it, and we put that one together. But like, everything else, once, the music gets into the hands of the fans, man, you have no control. So it was really...
I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah, nah, man. But I mean, but it was beautiful. Like we just, you know, because they were kind of doing the work for us. They were like, you know, our online street team without even realizing it. We was just like, listen, man, I mean, they're spreading this music, you know, damn near faster than we can make it. You know what I mean? So fuck it, let them. You know what I mean? Like we didn't, you know, that was why when 2007, when Get Back, you know, was coming out. And, you know, I leaked the album. Like you know what I'm saying? That, you know what I mean? The album had leaked already, but the album leaked and it was missing a track. And I downloaded it and I was like, yo, they missing a track. Like, this ain't even the full album. And so I just went on OK Player and was like, hey, y'all, I know the shit leaked, but it's missing the track. If y'all want the real shit, hit my DM. And that shit went crazy. You know what I mean? And you know, hell, that did more promotion for the album than damn ABB did for the album. You know what I mean? Because it was so many people that saw that and was like, shit.
My mama told me that this music was cool. All she ever wanted from me was to graduate from school, but I had other plans, so I bid school to do. I called Food Line, had to tell them I was through. No more stocking peas and corn. I was born for a much greater purpose. Do you this service? Margie got nervous, but Thomas don't sweat. 8 years, I ain't been back yet. Lack of time on your TV sets, no radio spins. Mama asking her son, what he doing for ends? Spending weeks on the road, mine this ain't for pretend. Unheard to the creme de la creme. Keep bouncing.
I'm a cop too off the strip. Like, y'all real for this. Like, you know what I mean? But we had to show the fans that, like, look, we're one of y'all. Like, we're music nerds too. We downloading this shit, and you know, that was at the time of it was kind of like the end days of LimeWire. I didn't fuck with LimeWire too heavy. There was too many viruses on that shit. But you know, but we would fuck with, you know, I mean, that was, you know, like shit like, you know, Z-Share. That was like, you know, Z-Share died so Spotify could live. Like that was the it was the pre-Spotify, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was just spreading links and everything, man. And yeah, we just felt that we had to show our people, like, listen, we're one of y'all. And so that was something that we always encourage our fans to do. And I think they respected us for that. You know, we didn't want to be like the Metallica of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like you feel me? Like, you know, you don't want to seem out of touch and shit. It's like suing your fucking fans. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was, that was the mentality.
So it's funny you talk about that, like leaking albums and then sending out messages about this hidden track and everything. Believe it or not, because your listening album came out like right at, I think, like the boom of like the whole Apple iPod, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's when the iPod, I think, maybe became more affordable, came down in price, started getting mass produced. Apple, you know, was pushing it out there, preparing everybody for the iPhone, right? And I got a iPod, but one of the last like CDs that I actually went into the store, physically purchased, was The Listening. So I'll always remember that, because after I got myself an iPod, I went digital, just because, you know what, man, it's fucking easier, you know? And because you know, we're in our mid 40s, so we're from the days of the 200 CD case logics and trying to weave through traffic and change CDs and this and shit, you know what I mean? So when I was able to put 5,000 songs on a little fucking thing like the size of a, you know, pack of gum, I was like, hell yeah, give me that. But yeah, so it's actually one of the last actual physical CDs that I purchased. So
it's funny you say that, man. There was an interview. We interviewed my cousin Tressie McMillan Cotton, who's in the doc, and one of her, you know, things that she was talking about and that we didn't get in the doc, but she kind of said something along those same lines of like The Listening for her was one of the last albums that she can actually remember where she was when she heard it, because it you know, there was tangible. Because it was tangible. It was something
you read the liners, you remember the track names, you appreciate the music so much because you actually went in the car, you drove, you bought it, you sit down, you read it, you listen while you're reading it. It's just, I miss that so much. But you know,
man,
these are the times now, you know.
Yeah. I've actually been back into, I mean, it's crazy. Like I've been getting more into physical media. I mean, I think, it sounded crazy, 5, 10 years ago. But I think now with people are seeing what's happening with streaming and, you just, see your favorite movies just fucking disappear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think with music, I've been getting back into just physical stuff, vinyl. I still got like CDs. It's something, I don't know. It's just something to be said about physically holding something in your hand or physically putting a piece of vinyl on a turntable and watching it go around like that. Just, I don't know. It changes your relationship to the music, and it makes you
for sure
makes you appreciate it more.
We mention this a lot. Like the physical product gives you an intimacy with the music, and not only that, you become more emotionally and financially invested in said product. Music today is disposable. You can listen to an album and be done with it in a matter of a day. But I do remember, and I don't want to keep going back to the listening as much as I started the show saying I don't want to talk to listening. But when we got this record one day in 2003, I listened to it, and I think there was no other record on the turntable the rest of the day because it was a sound that many of us were yearning for. But it opened up this new. I don't want to get corny with these cliches, but like I said earlier, you kind of reassured us that hip hop is still all right. You know what I'm saying? Both of you guys, since 2003, and you guys put the your foot on the gas for many years after that. To the point where I want to ask you almost, do you guys have like a healthy competition with one another, like a lot of groups do? Because you dropped Sleepers in 2005, I think, and Phonte, you did Foreign Exchange maybe a year prior.
That was 2004, yeah.
2004. And I mean, and if you think about it, just the year prior to that is when you dropped your debut. So you're constantly putting out new music every year, like you said. Did you guys have like a healthy competition with one another? Not to like outdo, but like, okay, you got a project, I'm gonna go do a project now.
Nah, it wasn't that. I did Sleepers, like I was always recording because I just looked at it like I'm only going to get better if I'm actually doing the work. So, and I was striving to be way better than what I was. And so Sleepers came about more so, that was Big Doe, our manager at the time. And his whole thing was like, yo, I know you're recording and stuff, but you got to show people you're working. Like, Phonte did the Foreign Exchange, Ninth, did the Jay-Z thing, and all the other people he working with now. You got to show you working as well. You can't just wait on Little Brother. That's how Sleepers even came about. So it was more of a push. It was more of a me trying to, get better at my craft and show that this is what I bring to the group. And that's kind of what Sleepers ended up being. And I found a appreciation at the time for being a solo artist.
Oh my God, yes indeed. Who got the knack to give you what you need? Move with speed, legendary MC. Born NBA, transport the NC. 1 year removed from a classic LP. 2 years ago we started up LB. Yay, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'ma flow till there ain't none left in me. You got a problem with me, homeboy, step to me. Show you more than verbal weaponry. Cause I walk with her, I talk with her. Remember Lil Young and play your part and everything will be okay. Rapper Pooh old school like Ellie Levert singing with OJ. There's no way y'all can lift like me. No Pooh for Rick, no yeah, Monster MC.
I got to go and show what I brought to Little Brother, because Little Brother is a compromise of musical ideas. And, Sleepers was me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to compromise. That was me. You hear any Pooh project, that's me. You know what I mean? When you hear Little Brother project, you hearing Phonte and Pooh finding
the common ground between us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think what makes it work, though, is that you guys, while you are both unique in your own right, you give the listener two different perspectives of things. And I was reading this, and maybe I don't want to believe everything I read, but the Minstrel Show, which happened the year following 2005, you enjoyed making a Phonte, where Pooh, it didn't sound like you loved that whole process. Now, I don't know if it was the music, the time, or the label. I don't want to assume anything, but is that true where you enjoyed it more, where Rapper Pooh, you were like, it wasn't like the listening where it was more like organic and fun and not,
Yeah, for me, that was more it. Like, I understand what it is now. I didn't understand what was happening before, but, the feeling wasn't the same. It was like, it became more work versus
Absolutely
doing the listening. It was just us having fun. You know what I mean? Because there was no expectation. There was no internal expectation. There was no outside expectation. It was just, we in here trying to make the best fucking music that we could possibly make. Whereas when it came to the minstrel show, okay, we're trying to make the best music we can make, but now we're also trying to prove a point. And it started to feel like work to me, along with what we had going on, internally. So it just wasn't. It didn't have the same vibe as.
The cherry had been picked off the tree. Like, it was, there was no longer a thing of, I was saying, you have all your life to make your first record, and you got 6 months to make your second one. You know what I mean? Like, it was very much, your first record, we got to make it in obscurity. Like, no one knew who we were. And then after that, the second album comes on top of that. It is, you having the pressure of you being on a major label. But for me, it definitely was a more, I think we were more hardened around that time. I remember there's a part in ID's interview, shout out to ID, in his interview that we got for the doc, where he was talking about seeing us when we played CMJ. Now that's a fucking blast from the past. You know what I mean? Wow. Yeah, we played CMJ in New York, and it was around the time when the minstrel show was just, coming out, it was about to come out, and he just talked about how seeing us coming off the bus and seeing us there, he could just tell. He was like, yeah, these are no longer the guys that I met in 2002, you know what I mean? Like, when we was on the High Road tour, and he's like, nah, those guys from that tour, like, they are dead and gone. Like, they're, hardened now, and so I think that was kind of what came through in the music. But in terms, for me making the records, I mean, man, just being in the studio and figuring it out, that's just what I love to do. I just love making music. And I think, for me, I just kind of always had blinders on. Like, I just couldn't, I'm just like, listen, we can't think about the label. We can't think about nothing else. We just got to make the best shit. Because my whole thing with the minstrel show, like, I'm a music fan, like, above anything else. And I just seen so many of my favorite bands would, be on some underground shit. And then when they signed to a major label, it was the kiss of fucking death. Like, they signed to a major, and it's like, here we go. Either A, they're going to put out some bullshit. If they're lucky, they get to put something out at all. You know what I mean? I had, like, so many of my homies that, got tied up in major labels and, like, didn't get to put shit out. You know what I'm saying? So our whole thing with the minstrel show, my idea was just, above all else, above record sales, above magazines or ratings or any of that shit, we have to show our fans that we are not going to let a major label change us. The same guys that musically who we were, those same guys that you fell in love with on the listening, we're still the same guys, on the minstrel show. You know what I mean? We've grown a little wiser, probably, a little harder, but, like, we on a major label, but we still going to do us. And that was just something that, for me, I was unwilling to compromise on, because I knew that had we did that, we would have lost our foundation. We would have lost our base.
You are watching UBN.
You Black Niggers Network, Channel 94, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
It's the minstrel show starring Phonte, rapper Big Pooh, Ninth Wonder Y'all, Roy Lee and the Borg Tritonian Band, musical guest Percy Miracle,
everybody? I'm your host, Chris Hardwick. Let's start the show.
It's like, listen, bro, we came to this major label with, 30,000 fans, 40,000 fans already in the pocket. You know what I mean? We brought that to the table. If we fuck around and lose them and piss them off, like, nigga, we done. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't risk our credibility's fucking shot. Like, I can't, I'm not gonna risk losing 40,000 surefire people in hopes that 1 million people and fucking housewives in fucking Kansas somewhere will buy this. Right? Get the fuck out of here. I'm not thinking about them. You know what I mean? Like, what? That ain't. We don't care. You know what I mean? So,
well, to your credit, you succeeded, man. Because when you do the, when I would get an album, I do the 20-second test. I go through every song for 20 seconds. You got 20 seconds to catch me. 20 seconds, because there were too many fucking records that we would get every week as college DJs. And the album, almost every song caught me, and I did not notice any kind of drop off from the listening whatsoever. In fact,
thank you, man.
Yeah, and Jay and I kind of debated this on the show before. I think it's probably better than the listening as far as the songs, but then I'm going to go a step further. We talk about album runs on the show. We just did an Ice Cube tribute, and we talk about his 3-album run. We talk about Tribe 3-album run. I want to talk about you guys 3-album run, the first 3, because I think Chitlin Circuit, even though it's set up like a mixtape, I like that better than the other 2.
Thank you, man.
and I know that that might sound crazy, whatever, but if you think that sounds crazy, listen to that motherfucker again. First of all, think about the producers you have on it. There's a wide array. You had several guest shots on there. I mean, listen, you got Illmind on there. You got Young Guru. You got Kanye West. You got Night Songs. You got guest rappers, a whole bunch of people. But you also have a bunch of songs that were just you. You got DJ Flash. I would encourage anyone to give that another listen, because it's easy to let that one get lost. But that 3-album run, I'll put that on the very, very short list that we talk about on the show often.
Thank you.
All right. If you haven't figured it out by now, Aaron's a super fan of y'all. So
that's love, man. Thank you.
Man. Look,
big facts.
The beauty of the Mental Show is, like, you guys telling us what was going on internally. You would have never have known it by listening to the music. Nope. And before we move on, I got to ask this question. Be honest. When you heard Elzai's verse, did either one of you consider rewriting your verses?
Nah.
Mine was done, and I knew I spit some hard shit. So
yeah, I have a question for you actually on your verse in that song, if you don't mind, real quick. Tell us about this Dominican broad's chili con queso, man. Was it?
That was me. That was me.
Oh,
that was me.
That was you.
That was me. But real quick, that was a that was a cultural error, because Dominicans do not make chili con queso.
But I mean,
they don't. But it was a rhyme. I just wanted to rhyme the word, and it sounded cool, so I was like, fuck it. But apologies to all my Dominicans. I know y'all don't make chili con queso. I know.
10 out of 10, papi. Ooh.
Y'all.
Hey, man, every time I hear that song, you get a dose of Elzai kicking it, you guys kicking it, and then I just get hungry because that chili con queso rhyme. I was like, damn, that's like my jam off that album, bro.
Yeah. Nah, man, thank you so much, man. Nah, I didn't. I mean, I was speaking that, but yeah, I didn't think about like rewriting a verse, because for me, when we did that record, Pooh, he went first, you know what I'm saying? He had his verse, and like he went first, and like, I knew that people would want to hear me and L kind of go back and forth. When we did our first kind of feature with I See Now with Kanye and Cons, Pooh had to split the verse with Consequence on that one.
Yeah.
And so when it came time for this one, I was like, all right, Pooh needs to shine. He needs a whole verse. He split the verse on the Kanye record. On this one, he needs his whole piece. You know what I mean? That was my thought. I don't even think I ever even told Pooh that. I don't think
No, you didn't.
Yeah. But that was my mentality.
I didn't even care. I was just like, I knew, obviously, I'm with Tay all the time, and I knew Elzai, you know, I know he's a beast. And I said, I got to come with the hardest shit I can come up, because what a lot of people don't know is during that beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That beat came about, we were actually not even recording at the time. Like, we had a little riff, so we wasn't even recording. And I was at Ninth House, and he was making the beat, and I said, we need that shit for the album.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you think so? And I fought for that shit. I was like, no, that gotta go. So I did all that. I fought for it. I got it on there. I said, I gotta come crazy. And that's all I was worried about.
I'm a hell of a problem, nobody has the answer. Pooh be spread it out like a body of cancer. My stanza, get it going like a car. Ushering a new era like this, y'all. I'm raw, stripped down, no minerals. A distilled MC, no chemicals, no subliminals. A smooth criminal before the rape charge. I shake and bake, bring terror to your squad. My pen's ferocious, I'm so focused. And I pray to God that the world knows this. Exposes flaws in your scheme, dog. Me and Dilla go hard, my lord. You don't want no problems. I'm a nigga that'll solve them without a doubt. Yeah, I'm in the booth cold knocking niggas out. Tell my tales by word of mouth. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. I think for a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of people didn't realize, you know, Pooh, he really, you know, Minstrel Show in a lot of ways was his coming out party, in my opinion. I mean, a coming out party and just his stepping out party, because for the first album, you know, I mean, we were all learning, but Pooh was really, you know, really learning. Like, you know what I mean? He kind of, you know, in the doc, you know, he kind of had, you know, some couple kind of deer in headlight moments, you know what I'm saying? Where he was really just like, oh my God, like what the fuck? So we were really learning. By the time the second album came around, that was when Pooh really, you know, he was starting to come into his own, and he wanted more of a say in the group and the way things were going to go. And the record was 100% better for it. You know what I mean? We needed those records like a hiding place, you know, kind of more of the harder, more energetic stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a tribe, you know, stand disciple. So, you know, Native Tongues tribe, like, you know, I can stand just the chill, cool out shit. I can do that all day, but Pooh really was the one that was really bringing that energy, and it kind of accented more of the kind of yin and yang between our styles. And that just made for a much better record. Just it wouldn't have been the same without his input. And so with Elzai, for me, man, you know, and I've talked about this before, but they don't understand that, like, on a guest record with people, the whole Eminem murdered you on your own shit. Like, that was one of the worst. Listen, Nas is Nas, but that was like one of the worst things I think that kind of happened, because it just made. And it's like, dude, y'all are getting it twisted. It's like, if I'm inviting you to guest on my record, I'm throwing you the alley, right? Like, I'm setting it up for you to dunk it. I don't want it, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving you the moment to kind of steal the show. That's what you're supposed to fucking do. Like, I'm not saving a fucking record. I'm not saving a verse for you to come with some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? I'm setting you up to shine. And so for me, it was just with that verse. When I heard L's verse, I was like, hell yeah, like this, yes. You know what I mean? And so me and him, we went to the car and we kind of broke our verses up to go back and forth. And he was looking at my shit like, nigga, what? You were? I'm listening to his shit like, what? Nigga, what? And so we went back in the studio, laid that shit. And that was intentional and by design. And I think we spoke about this on an early interview, but for us, it was I always looked at records in the whole. It was never about this verse or this beat or this feature. It's all about seeing the big picture and seeing it as a whole. And when having someone like L on, who is someone that I just, you know, love and respect and just still, you know, just admire and just have the utmost respect for as an MC, it's just like, look, man, this has to be a moment. Fuck who had me. I'm not going to go into a joint trying to battle with Elzai. We gonna battle on the second. Like, dude, get the fuck. Like, this shit got to be a jam, dog. Like, we ain't. You know what I mean? Like, it's got a jam. Like, you know what I mean? If you just want just battle or whatever, I mean, there's other venues and avenues you can do that in. You know what I mean? But when you making a record, this shit got to be a record, and that was always our goal.
Well, I didn't mean, I wasn't implying that he like murdered y'all, but like,
no.
Yeah. But it was a moment.
There were people that said that. They was like, oh man, L, he got you on it. Every time me and L do a record, it's always, okay, I think L got you, or I think Tay got it. And I'm like, listen, dude, like it's great. Like I'm thankful that we are still at a level where we can write at that level and make people debate. You know what I'm saying? That was the beautiful thing of it for me. And so, yeah, man, that was how Hiding Place came about.
It was a moment, and it's one of my favorite collabos. It's kind of like the feeling I had when I heard AZ on Life's a Bitch, right? Nas is,
oh man,
to me, one of the greatest rappers of all time. But that moment was AZ's moment. And I know Elzai was putting in the work, but I feel like that was his coming out party, because
wow, man,
that particular record, you had 3 great MCs on it, and then you have Elzai, who I want to say, I don't know if he was a household name at the time. In 2005, this was...
I don't think he is still, and it's a shame. He's criminally underrated.
True, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of like relatively an obscure Elzai than what we're accustomed to today. You mentioned real quick, I See Now. Can you just... And you probably had this story a million times, and I don't really want to hear too much about Kanye, but whatever he was persistent about, like he was a pain in the ass about some vocals, whatever he did after the fact, do you think he did the right thing? Like, did you ever give thought to like maybe he had a point? And I don't know what he wanted to do, but whatever he did it make sense?
It did make sense. It did make sense. It did make sense. I think at that time, it was just, he was someone that we talked about before. He was just someone that was just so dedicated. In some ways, I could see some of myself in, and I think we kind of had that similar quality of just kind of being dedicated to the vision and whatever that vision was. It was just surprising. Dude, I had the kid. Like, I'm like, bro, I got real life shit to handle, dog. Like, this ad lib in this song, like, nigga, do whatever. I don't care. Like, I got to go pick my kid up from school. I'm gonna have to pay this fucking fine, dog. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? But looking back on it, yeah, I think it definitely was the right call, and it was good to, be in the studio with someone and just see his creative process, see kind of how he worked, and just to get outside, because we had been creating, me, Pooh, and Ninth, and our crew, we had kind of just been kind of creating in a bubble ourselves, which was necessary at that time because we were all developing, and I just don't think you can develop with a million eyes on you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how well that really works, but we spent a lot of time just in that bubble. But when he came, when we did the record with Ye and Cons, we kind of saw his process, and it was like, okay, it was good just to see another person's process, and that was informative. So ultimately, yeah, it was a dope record. The shit hard, and I mean, I still like it.
Was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun record.
That's what I get out of it. That was when he was having fun and talking shit, and it was great, man. That was a great snapshot in time. Just a fun record.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And a good ass jam. Like, production was on point. That's one of the best songs on Chillin' Circuit.
Thank you, man.
This man's gonna have a Chillin' Circuit.
Telling you, slept on, dude. Revisit that album. Revisit that album.
On all, I got it right here with me.
Yes, sir.
I got the whole catalog. So
Chillin' Circuit almost could have been bigger than Minstrel on the low. Like, we kind of, Pooh.
I think it's better. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we kind of had to put the brakes on Cot.
Put the brakes on Chillin' Circuit. Because it came out, 1.5 came out, a month or two before the Minstrel Show. And E1, Koch, whatever they was called at the time, they wanted to go up. Like, they wanted to shoot a video, but we knew the Minstrel Show was coming, so we kind of had to, like, nah, we good. Like, we gonna chill, because at the time,
Nobody Like Me, that was the record.
Yeah, Nobody Like Me
Mind joint
was going up harder than Loving It was at the time, and so we kind of had to put the brakes on it just because we knew our major label debut was coming. So, you know, thinking back now, I mean, obviously, when you look back, you'd have done things a little differently.
like,
but
run this shit all the way up, goddamn. We gonna see the video, nigga.
Because we can't run no more. But you know, you live and you learn.
The Mental Show got like a 4.5 mic rating, but it was never published. Is that correct?
No, it was published.
It was published.
4.5. I thought it was a 4 mic rating, and I thought one of the guys quit because of.
Nah. He wanted it to be 5. He wanted to give it 5, and the 4.5 was what was published.
That was the compromise. Well, I don't want to call it the compromise.
Okay.
That was what we gonna do is, and the whole thing, the whole idea that we heard was basically we wasn't big enough or prominent enough to have a 5 mic album, and so it was like we can't get them 5. Like we can't justify, which sounds funny, we can't justify giving them 5, not because the music isn't good. They're just not prominent enough.
They're not popular enough. Yeah, at the time that was around the same time.
Crazy.
As I recall, it was around the same time that that Jeezy had dropped. There was Thug Motivation, like his first album. You know what I'm saying? And it was just kind of a thing of like, well, we can't give them a bigger rating than Jeezy, because that's when Jeezy was like, that was his debut. He was on fire. You know what I'm saying? He was kind of the new dude coming into that.
Snowman t-shirts everywhere.
Right, Snowman t-shirts was everywhere. Like he had the shit on lock, and so and I think, Thug Motivation. I mean, that's a classic album. That's a classic debut. We just we was like, dog, we don't want you to take away nothing from him or no one else that deserves it. Like if we just judge us by our own merit. You know what I mean? And so
give you what you earned.
Yeah, just give me what we earned. That was all we asked for.
Well, Yeezy never had a rhyme of the month in the source, so why I don't get the point of you guys not being worthy or known or whatever it is for that 5 mic rating, but yet you got awarded a rhyme of the month.
That was the compromise. You know what I mean? Like it was
it's all source politics.
It happens.
This was the Benzino era. Let's be clear.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I was gonna drop the B word. and it's funny too when you watch the documentary. Like the source is what brought you all together to an extent, right? That you talk about being in like the mess hall or something, hanging out in the cafeteria, and
it was in the lobby of our dorm, just in the commons area.
Yep.
On your tour buses, everyone always that I speak to on tour buses, they have like different vibes that they listen to music. I know, Phonte, you're a huge 80s dude. Obviously, you did that album in like 2008. Are you an 80s guy, Pooh? I know you're like 2 or 3 years younger, so I don't want to be,
I'm a year younger than Tay. Now I'm a whatever sounds good to me guy. So like, and I credit Phonte with this a lot. We actually had a radio show in college. Mm-hmm. And on our radio show, we played no hip hop, no R&B. And so I was introduced, and I agreed to that because I was introduced to a lot of music I probably would have never heard of otherwise. And
give us a flavor of what the playlist was like.
Beck,
I played Beck shit. I played Beck. I was a big Beck, Radiohead. Bjork. I was bumping a lot of like Bjork at that time. I was bumping. She had a record. It was the remix of "I Miss You." It was on the Telegram record. I used to run that shit. That shit was hard. Air. I was bumping like Air. That was when the
Cherry Blossom.
Cherry Blossom Girl. Yeah, it was that album, the Moon Safari. I was running that. God, man. I think it was that, but it was that kind of vibe. It was that kind of shit.
And we're
Stereo Lab. I would run, all that shit. Yeah.
We're at a HBCU, a Black college and university, and this is what we're playing on our campus radio.
How do people respond to that?
In the era of No Limit.
Right.
No mystical on this show.
Nah.
But it expanded, my musical palette, and that's something that to this day I always appreciated. And so for me, like, I know you was talking about the tour bus. On the tour bus, it was, I mean, you can play whatever. Really, the main system, because by this time everybody had Discmans or iPods or whatever, so you could go into your own little bubble.
Yeah.
What the main system on the tour bus mainly was demos.
Okay.
Man,
and
listen.
Because we had a basket, and so every night, no matter who was in the tour party, you would end up with demos. Sometimes we had doubles, but you would get demos, and we would all toss the demos in the basket. And we would just, when it was time to put the big system on, we pull the demo basket out.
Huh.
And we would go through people's projects, and most of them ended up.
Give him that 20-second test that Wade was talking about.
we went a little longer than 20.
Okay.
And a lot of them turned into frisbees.
Of course. Which ones caught you?
Cat out of St. Louis, Vandalism. We ended up working with him. Was that the only one?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, that might have been it, dog. I mean, I can't.
I remember him.
Yeah, motherfuckers was not good.
That whole basket yielded one rapper. One.
Yeah.
that we worked with. That I know that we reached out to and we ended up working with was Vandalism. Other than that, man, it was a lot of trash on that thing, man. And I hope we ain't crushing nobody's dream.
No. Hey, the fact that you even gave him your attention, I'm sure is appreciated. In fact, I'm wondering, is that like a common practice that other groups or rappers do when they're on tour and they get their hands on demos? They have like a, okay, close your eyes, pick one, put it in, and let's take a listen, or it's something that you guys just kind of made organically as you're on the road?
Yeah, that was organically. Yeah, man, that was definitely organic because I just always looked at it, Amir, Quest, he was the person that took our demo and listened to it, and that just really changed everything. And so I just always, I mean, still now I'm still very curious. I keep my ear to the street. I'm always looking for who's next, or just not even who's next, but just always looking for talent and looking for just amazing singers, rappers, vocalists, producers, whatever. And I just always thought of like, man, we were living proof of just how one person can make the difference between you getting exposure or just kind of languishing in obscurity. You know what I mean? So we always want to give people that chance. It's like, it could be somebody that's raw. You know what I mean? And we caught a couple, but the majority of them, they were not raw.
They weren't ready.
Nah, but we still listened nonetheless and gave it a shot.
Do you guys judge people on their musical taste?
Absolutely.
I figure. I figure Phonte more than Pooh.
Yeah, that's right. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even really talk music a lot. Like I judge you on your sports knowledge. Like that's
okay.
That's where I'm. Your food.
That's cool all day.
I judge you more on your palate, your actual food palate, than I do on your taste.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Hennessy, who hates you?
Absolutely.
Hold on, you mentioned the sport thing. There's so many similarities to like Fife and Tip. Like Tip is like a music student, like to keep to himself and whatnot. And then Fife is the fun-loving sports guy. And that's kind of how I pegged you two. But after listening to your music all these years, like if I have a Super Bowl party, Phonte's like, no, I'm good. I'm in the lab working on an album. And Pooh's like, yeah, I'm bringing Doritos and let's have some fun.
Goddamn, ain't nothing going down on Super Bowl day but Super Bowl. Okay?
Yeah.
Like the only music I care about is the halftime show if it's somebody I want to hear.
But am I right a little bit? Like the similarities are I mean, I don't know if you guys want to admit this because we're talking about like, obviously, legendary. But
it's definitely head on.
Very similar. Yeah.
That's something, rest in peace, that me and Fife connected on, was that, we both definitely had a love and, a love for sports. So you definitely, you got that right.
Nah, that's definitely true. I remember this was last year. We were on my family was going on a trip. We're on road trips, me, my wife, and the boys, and we would take turns like playing albums in the car. You know what I'm saying? So like we would all kind of pick an album, and it's like, okay, play something. You know what I mean? It could be whatever, any album that means something to you, like anything. Like, but we gonna all listen to it together. And so the album that I picked was Midnight Marauders because I wanted to just play it for them to hear it. I'm just like, yo, this is
the perfect album.
When I was 14 years old, this shit changed my fucking life and blew me away, you know what I mean? And so I played it for them, and they were like, they had never heard, I mean, they probably heard me playing it around the house as kids or whatever, but that was the first time they took it all top to bottom. And so I played it for them, and I was like, yeah, so what was some of your favorite joints? He was like, yo, the one, like, yeah, the electric, something like electric relaxation. They were like, yeah, that was, yeah, I like, and I was like, man. So I hit Q-Tip, I texted Tip, and I was just like, yo, bro, just letting you know, man, I played Midnight Marauders for my boys. I sent them a picture of me and the boys. I said, man, I played the record for them today, and it blew them away just like it blew me away 30 years ago. And I just want to let you know, man, like your lessons are still resonating. Like, thank you for just, being a teacher, you know what I mean, for us. And he was like, bro, that's beautiful, man. Thank you. And that was it. And I'm like, yep, that's Tip. That's me. Like, he just in his own world. And that's it. Yeah. So yeah, the Tip and Fife with me and Pooh is very, I think it is a lot of truth to that, a lot of similarities.
So Pooh, who you got in the Super Bowl, man?
Whoever my prop bets tell me I got.
How many times are they gonna show Taylor Swift on screen? Over under like 20?
Bro. Man, I hope it's under 5. But
yeah. Amen to that.
It's probably gonna be about 8 to 10.
Yeah, at least.
Duke, North Carolina. Who do you side with?
Maryland. Shut up!
Really?
Yeah, I pray they both lose every day, every time they play each other.
So do I. So do I.
All right, since we're picking things, we can do a game of pick one. I wanna know though, before we do that, Phonte and Pooh, what is your favorite Tribe Called Quest album?
Midnight Marauders.
Yeah, Midnight. Yeah.
All right, because to me, there's two kind of people in this world. There's those that like Low End Theory, and those that like Midnight Marauders. Kind of like those who like Death Certificate, and those who like America's Most Wanted. And there's no right or wrong answer, and they're all classics.
Yeah, I think it just depends on your age. Like,
is this some ageism shit? Come on.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Andre, welcome.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
What up, Tay?
Yeah,
what up,
I think it's I mean, that was what I kind of saw. I mean, because if you talk to, like Amir and like his, he's older than us, so he's like in his 50s, so. His generation, they swear by like Low End is the one for them. Like they like you can't you can't say shit about Low End to them. And it's like for us, it's like, yo, Low End, I mean, amazing, of course, you know what I'm saying? But just for me at the time, Midnight, when I heard that, I was just like, oh my God, like how are they sounding so musical and they not, playing instruments? Like this shit sounds amazing. But then even beyond that, like Beats, Rhymes, and Life, that was an album I didn't realize people didn't like until I got on the internet. You know what I mean? I was like, y'all had problems with this? Like, this shit was hard. And it was different. I mean, from what it came before, and I think it reflected kind of, this is a post-Big and Tupac hip-hop. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So I think the the feeling of it was a lot heavier and not as kind of carefree as some of their earlier work. But nigga, I go up for Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Like, I mean, there's not a Tribe album that I don't like. You know
but the problem is, Midnight is actually a perfect record. I mean, I still like Low End because it was a breakthrough, and it was very different from so many ways. But you know, when you had the first Tribe album towards the second one, I mean, the second one was just such a pivotal moment that kind of moved it in a different direction. So it meant more to me. But Midnight is a perfect fucking record. I mean, it's kind of like the Ice Cube argument of America's Most was so monumental, even though people like his second album better.
Definitely is one of my favorite albums.
We all are
all time, any genre.
But we always say, because Ice Cube came from one of the most amazing groups of all time and had no home, and then the Bomb Squad took him in, it is a whole different thing that America's Most was this breakthrough that really set Ice Cube to this next level and allowed him to kind of catapult into film, into writing. America's Most became, to me, it was preaching, man. That was church to me.
It was a brilliant album, and with the Bomb Squad bringing him in, I think the thing that resonated most to me with Death Certificate was that he formed his own Bomb Squad.
Yeah.
Like, that was, like he took the lessons he learned from America's Most and was like, yo, I'm gonna get with Jinx and KD. And,
but do you take the original and
Lynch
then say like the mimicking is just as good? To me, the original.
Well, it wasn't even mimicking. I don't think it was mimicking. I think it was a step up. Like it wasn't just mimicking. He wasn't.
Hey, let's just say this. Thank God for sampling back then. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was like, that made everything good. That was the fucking icing, man.
Right. The days of guerrilla sampling, amazing. It was great.
Having a feature film out at the same time also helped, because it almost, even though there was a soundtrack to Boys in the Hood, Death Certificate sounded like a soundtrack that you would hear during that time in that movie. Like
Death Certificate was a screenplay, dude. Like that was for me. Like, what was you saying, Pooh?
I was like, yeah, that was you listen to that album and that's a movie. That's an audio movie.
I'll ask one question now, because of what you guys just said. So would you take Death Certificate, or would you take It Takes a Nation of Millions and say, like, what movie would you want to see?
Death Certificate. These guys are my age.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Death. Listen, that is, that's a tough one, but because they're two different movies. But I think
it's okay.
I think the thing with Chuck D and with Nation of Millions, with Nation of Millions, again, beautiful album, amazing. Just their college courses on that fucking album. That shit is a masterpiece. I think lyrically, it was a lot of stuff that you didn't really, at least for me. I was like 8 when that record came out. So like,
yeah, it's different.
You know what I mean? So hearing Chuck D, supporter of Chesimard, I'm like, what is he talking about? It wasn't until, I had to talk to my aunt, like, who is he talking about?
But that makes you kind of go in and dive. You know what I'm saying? That's
it makes you dive, but with goddamn, but on goddamn,
it was harder to dive back then.
No, that's true. There was no internet. I got it.
Look, it wasn't no deal. But then on Death, but you compare that to Death Certificate to you compare Support of Chesimard to, you know what I'm saying, to the Neighborhood Snitches, Miss Parker, Little Joe, and Ty Bridges. I was like, what?
To the corner house bitches, Miss Parker, Little Joe, and Todd Bridges.
Like, you just said his name as a crack.
And you knew Todd Bridges.
Yeah, I knew Todd Bridges. I watched the Strokes. I was like, yo.
What you talking about, Willis?
You wild for that shit.
Listen, his writing was amazing.
I think it's absolutely an age thing. That's what resonates with you at that time. Like Andre's 74 years old, so yes, like he grew up listening to like Richard Pryor. We liked Eddie Murphy, right? I can't imagine you guys didn't grow up listening to Eddie Murphy. He was your guy, So it's all in the age, and I think that's why for us in the 40s. Death Certificate is the album, the same way Midnight Marauders is the album. But since we're picking albums, let's do a few. Both of you guys answer. Pick one. Iron Man or Supreme Clientele?
Dang.
Yo.
I think Fuck, man, that's a hard one for me.
Okay. For you, if you asked me that question, you know, a year or two, or any time, like 10 years ago, I would Supreme Clientele, just top to bottom. Like I would have been that. I actually ran Iron Man in the gym the other day.
Sometimes I feel.
Yo, man. When he got the motherless child, bruh. Oh my God.
That was the one.
Whew. Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion. There's no answer.
Yeah, I would say there's nothing I skip. I would say that there's nothing like I would say that the highs on Supreme Clientele may be higher than the highs on, you know, I mean, because like Buck 50 is one of my favorite Wu-Tang songs, period. Like just in the whole catalog. Like Buck 50 is like, fuck what you talking about, Buck 50, dog. Like, but like I skipped the Stroke of Death joint. Like that, I can't do it. I've tried. I can't. I can't do it. There's nothing I skip on Iron Man. Like nothing.
So it sounds like Iron Man. Iron Man is like the album that Supreme may have better songs, but Iron Man is the better overall album.
100%.
For me, it just changes, but it's probably Iron Man. I think it was definitely the better album.
Okay. All right, check this one. Being from the South, guys, this is an important one. So, what is it? Aquemini? Or Southern Cadillac?
Oh, Aquemini for me.
All right, thank God.
It's Aquemini.
It's AT Aliens for me.
Wow. All right. Okay. So see, it ain't age. You know what I mean? That's where I was at right there. Because I was like, if they don't say Aquemini and they even want to say like, you know, AT Aliens, then it's another thing. So that's good. I'm actually glad to hear that. But Aquemini is the fucking shit.
I would take Aquemini over Southern Playalistic, but AT Aliens is my favorite Outkast album.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a Southern Playalistic guy. I love that album.
Same.
94 to me is, you know, one of the greatest years. All right, so I'm gonna mix it up, not do all music, but let's keep it a little fun. The Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi?
Nigga, they all the same.
Star Wars movie.
Like, fuck out of here.
Tay, what'd you just say?
I've never seen a Star Wars movie.
Man, my fucking man right there. These motherfuckers make fun of me because I'm like, yo, I don't have the cap on today, man.
Wait a second.
I get a couple of them, but yo, you guys are so into this shit. It's a
45. You never seen a Star Wars movie?
Man, I'm not like a sci-fi. Like I've never Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Avatar. I don't watch none of that shit, dog.
That's completely separate than Star Wars. You're talking about Harry Potter.
I'm just saying. I mean, anything with a franchise, like I just don't really do anything with like magical white people. Like I just ain't.
Hey Tay, you want to join this podcast, bro?
I'm not watching that shit. Like I'm just.
Tay, I want you to join this podcast, dude, because
magical white people. I want pixie dust and shit.
Fucking David Copperfield.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen a full Star Wars anything.
Hold on, mine's fucking blow. First of all, Phonte, you got a song called Jedi Code, right? With Jay Electronica, and you've never seen a goddamn Star Wars movie?
I didn't name that song. Star Wars, that whole Star Wars shit, that's ninth shit. Like that's them, that Jedi shit. I ain't never watched none of that shit, man.
Oh my God. All right. Next, don't break my heart in this one. So you better answer. Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Ass, Larry. Ass is not ass. Ass fucking ass, Larry. No, it's not. That's what the fuck I do, Larry. Well, you don't have to tap every ass. Do you? You have to tap every ass? Well, what the fuck are we gonna do right now? What do you mean we? I was gonna fuck somebody up.
So I would be real. I would be real with you. I hope this ain't too heartbreaking. Like, so I never watched Seinfeld. Just didn't. It just it's just too white. I'm just.
There's the guy who had a radio show dedicated to Beck and Bjork. You did?
Yeah, but that's like artsy. You know, that's like artsy, eclectic white. Like to Seinfeld, that's like New York. Like that's just again, I don't know. It was just that sensibility. I'm just like, I'm from the South. I'm like, yeah, this shit this ain't for me.
Yeah,
but
I can hear that.
I watched the last year. I watched they had like they did the lead in on HBO where like I think it was after Insecure or something, and they would show Curb, and I just let the TV run and I watched the episode of Curb. It was season 11. Man, me and my wife, oh my God, we love that fucking show. You know what I mean? And I ran the fuck out of it. And so Now, he's on his last season. We started watching that, but yeah, Curb is fucking hilarious, man. And Larry David gets away with shit that only he can do. Like only he can do. Like,
well, he has a good assist too, man. There's a good assist on the show, So.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like the episode where like he went to the Holocaust Museum and was trying on shoes and shit. I'm like, dude, like flagrant. I'm like, yo, y'all are so out of bounds with this shit. But he can do it. So
he can do it.
Nah, that shit is hilarious.
Happy New Year.
Balloon Mind State or Stakes is High?
Stakes.
Stakes is high.
Ooh.
Hey, disagreement there.
You would have played Balloon Mind State on that fucking show of yours. I don't know what it was called.
You know what? Yo, Balloon, man, that's honestly an album. I probably didn't listen to Balloon in full, honestly, probably till a couple years ago. Like, I don't know, because Balloon was what, 93?
Yep. Yes, 93.
It was just one of those albums at that time. It just kind of slipped through the cracks for me. I don't know. And I was, huge De La fan. Loved Break of Dawn, loved Ego Trip, all that. But just that album, I don't know. It just kind of slipped through the cracks at that time. I don't know.
Wow. This may be the most revealing interview you guys have ever done. I don't think people are going to. Holy shit.
But wait, it gets worse.
Since you mentioned Todd Bridges, did you like Different Strokes or Good Times?
Man,
don't lie now. Don't try to be hard. I know you like Drummond.
This not even a like thing. I preferred Good Times because I didn't really the whole, the old white man got the two black kids thing that kind of like was like weird to me.
Yeah, kind of like human trafficking a little bit.
It was like, but even with Good Times, I preferred it. But that show pissed me off too because I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers can't catch a break.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna be in the hood forever. They're gonna be in Cabrini Green forever.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
But they lasted longer. A lot of the Different Strokes cats, they all got fucked up and died early.
Man, yeah, the Different Strokes cat. Like, even the fact that Todd Bridges, back to that, like, no one would have told me that he would be the last person kind of standing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so I would definitely go with Good Times. Different Strokes was, it was cool. It was fun.
And Florida Evans was the true villain.
Couldn't we at least let Black Jesus hang alongside?
Forget it. The only Jesus I know is him, and the one thing he don't need is a partner.
Who is the Gooch?
The Gooch?
The Gooch.
He was the Billy. He was the bully.
No, I'm saying, but I know, but like, who really was the Gooch? They never showed that.
Shit, the Gooch was Florida Evans.
Love Flo.
Crossover.
If we let Drake continue, he's gonna go to Fat Albert next, which is gonna date him even more.
Nah, that was before my time.
That was teenage years for Dre. So
Dre had the little Nickelodeon machine. He had the crank and watch fucking cartoons in the morning.
I do have that 16mm camera. I won't lie.
Oh shit.
Tears for Fears or REM?
Tears for Fears.
Yes.
Songs from the Big Chair is a great album.
I guess Tears for Fears. I don't know. Do I know any REM songs? I don't know.
Losing My Religion, Everybody Hurts.
KRS did a song with him.
I guess.
KRS did a song with Michael Stipe?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Was it on that Heal album or something? Like
no, I think it was on Out of Time.
Yeah, Out of Time.
Yeah. It was on an REM album.
What are you saying? What are you playing? Who are you obeying? Day after day in. Baby. Yeah, that stuff is driving me crazy. DJs communicate to the masses. Sex and violent classes. Now our children grow up prisoners all their life. Radio listeners!
Yeah, fucking weird.
Of course.
Never heard of it.
I completely missed that development.
We'll bring it back to 94. Illmatic or Resurrection?
Illmatic.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably go with Illmatic. I would probably go with Illmatic as the album. But if we talking lyrically, like for me, like it's lines I'm still catching off Resurrection.
Mm-hmm. Like, favorite line off there?
Gee, where do I start? I'm just trying to think. I stagger in the gathering, possessed by a pattern that be staggering over my vocals. My vocals be traveling and raveling my abdomen. I mean, it was just, it was, I would say, like, it was a dense record. Like lyrically, it was a lot. Like he was packing in a lot of like punchlines and references and plays on words. Like that shit was, it was a lot in that record. But yeah, as far as the album, I mean, yeah, I would say like Illmatic. That was that fucked us all up. Like that record came out, and I mean, even in the South, like the older homies I hung with, like in high school, I was a freshman, and all my homies that were seniors, they was putting me on, and I was listening to that shit like, oh wow, like yeah, he rapping for real. You know what I mean? So that record.
Are you guys both in agreement that Illmatic's the best rap record ever recorded?
No.
No? What do you think is?
I don't know, but it ain't that.
I wouldn't say, I don't know if I would say best rap record. I would say, okay, I would say this. Illmatic gets the rep as the best debut. And I'm like, and you can argue that, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Like I ain't gonna bang with you on it. Mm-hmm. For me, best debut and also one of the best rap records recorded, Doggy Style, bro. Like Doggy Style. Like people don't understand like that record. You know,
does that hit you commercially?
What, Doggy Style?
Yeah.
Nah, it's
that
not
shit
even
hit
that.
everywhere. Ain't no man. That shit was a fucking jamming ass album, man. My mama used to play that shit.
That was the first CD I ever owned was Doggy Style. My mom bought me a stereo for my birthday.
The Kevin story.
With a three disc CD changer, 3 CD, yeah, whatever, and two tape deck, right? Dual tape deck. Uh-huh. And she was in the store and she was deciding between Tevin Campbell and Snoop. And her boyfriend at the time said, don't get that boy Tevin Campbell. So she got the Snoop album because she loved Gin and Juice because it was on the radio. And she loved What's My Name. So she bought it for me and she was like, yo, play my song. Now my mom, cursed like a sailor, only heard radio versions. So she was like, yo, put my song on. Uh-huh. Yeah, she ain't like it after
that. She hadn't heard the album version of them shit.
Nah, but so Snoop Doggy Style was my first CD, and it was the original pressing with G's and Hustlers on it.
Yep. Yes, the facts. You had to have that.
Oh, did they re-release it without that song?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they took it off.
Oh, really? Oh,
why? It was a issue. I think they recently now they
just put it back up on streaming, but it was a sample clearance.
It was an Isaac Hayes sample.
So it was still listed on CDs, but it was not on the CD.
So boom, 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 boom. That right there, they didn't clear it.
Nah, it was it was the Isaac Hayes shit. I can't remember the name of the song, but it was the Isaac Hayes sample.
Like, your bitch chose me.
So you both agree that was the biggest debut album. But what Gun to Head would you consider your favorite album?
Rap album?
Yeah, let's go hip hop. Gun to Head, pick one.
I mean, man, honestly, bro, I probably Death Certificate.
That's a good answer.
Either Death Certificate or Midnight. I mean, it's either one, either depending on the day, but yeah, for me.
And you said AT Aliens, Pooh?
AT Aliens.
Like no hesitation. Like that's it.
Anytime before I start working on a record or project, I have a handful of albums that I listen to. I end up throwing others in as I go along, but I always start with America's Most, AT Aliens, and those two are definites. Those are locks. I always listen to those before I start.
Yeah. So the cover of Left Back, that's a flip on the Outkast logo. You're paying homage to those boys?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, man. Cass was and they were a group that, again, man, like, they were really outside of Southern Playalistic. Southern Playalistic, I think, was it was kind of an instant kind of thing. It was easily, digestible. I mean, it had wall-to-wall hooks, what I'm saying? It was just a funky ass album, you know what I mean? AT Aliens, I'll be real, man. AT Aliens was a slow burn for me. Like, I remember going to they had a midnight sale at my record store in my city, and it was Record Exchange. And so I went and, we went and bought AT Aliens because Elevators was the single. That shit was everywhere. I mean, that shit was a monster.
And talk about a slow song, too.
Yeah,
that
really
slow. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it was like AT Aliens was a minute. It was a slow burn, but then my record off AT Aliens was the 13th Floor Growing Old. Like that was the one I was like, ooh, okay, now I get it. But Outkast, man, they just, to me, for me, if we talking greatest duos of all time, I mean, what are we talking about? They had both the artistic credibility and they also had, the sales records. Like they really got the best of both worlds, and they just are just amazing, man.
Did either of you guys ever meet Organized Noise?
We interviewed them on Questlove Supreme. Okay, this was last year.
And what was kind of the highlight of that?
Man, it was a 3-hour highlight. Like, what are you talking about? Man, that shit was crazy.
But from your perspective, being an artist, what were some of the things you wanted to kind of know, as far as how they went about the process?
I think what I saw with them was the value of a production team and how everybody played a different role. So in the interview is up. It's up, if anyone wants to go check it. It's the Organized Noise episode of Questlove Supreme that's on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts from. But I saw they talked about kind of each person's role. So Ray is the drum machine god. Like he's drum machine sample. He's really like the beat guy of them. Sleepy is the songwriter. You know what I'm saying? He's the one, he's doing the hooks. He's like helping kind of arrange and stuff. And then Rico is the traffic cop. He's the one, that's kind of like, okay, this is going to go to TLC. This is going to go, we're going to do this one on Big. All right, we're going to give this one to Sleepy. Like, he was the one that was kind of orchestrating in that way. And I thought it was really informative and really just instructive of how now more than ever, you really do need a team, especially the production game. Now, like some of the stories I hear from producers, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So who was the Quincy Jones kind of orchestrating like the live players?
If I recall correctly, I think that was, that may have been, I think that was Rico. I don't know if I remember. I think they all maybe played a role in it, but Rico was, as I understand it, he was kind of the orchestrator, if I remember correctly.
Bring back horns, man. I miss that shit. Earth, Wind, and Fire horns. Bring that shit back, man. There's nothing like that in hip hop. Bring it in.
I think they were kind of like the Southern Bomb Squad when you think about it.
100%.
Yeah.
Or the Southern Soulquarians. Either kind of same vibe, but yeah, man. Organized Noise, they were, that was just a masterclass. Like, listen to those records. It was something that it really resonated to us in the South because it was just so musical and, it was still hip hop, but it was soul food. Not, to quote the album, but it really felt like soul food. And they were just a huge influence on me, man. Still to this day.
For me, just learning that they had musicians in there playing things when I thought it was just, sampling and drum machine, but it was actually them bringing in, man, that blew my fucking mind because of how you knew it felt warm, like instruments, but it still had that dirt on it that didn't feel like instruments. And that was just genius level shit they was doing.
And it's to make
like if you would have told me, like if you would have played Spodioti with no vocals and been like, yo, this is a fucking, a fucking Sly and Robbie, dub plate from 85 or so shit, Like it was, man, that equipment, that's why it's my favorite album of theirs. Like that shit was amazing.
No, but it's like to let them learn how to play live but sound like a sample. That there's an art in that, and I think Quest was the first, with the Roots to do it, but I definitely think it was perfected by Organized for sure.
Nah, for sure.
How deep does your Southern love go? You know, we have rappers on the show that like Outkast, but they may not dabble in like 8 Ball and MJG or UGK. And you're from VAs, like originally, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, you still have the Southern roots there, but like maybe you had more exposure to maybe say East Coast stuff, right? Because you're like in the DMV area. I don't know. Maybe it's slightly different for you, Phonte. But how deep does that Southern root really go with hip hop for you guys?
It don't go deep as most for me, but it goes. I definitely know, respect, love, Ball and G. Definitely, the Underground Kings are just that. Underground
Kings.
Chopping Blades is my fucking favorite UGK song. I love Tila. You know what I'm saying?
Show enough for Forever Jam.
You know,
Forever.
1995.
Like, so I know a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely went past Cass. You know what I mean? Like, that's my favorite group ever. But I went deeper than that, just because at the end of the day, like, we love music. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I would hear something, and then that would lead me to something else, and then that would lead me to something else. And my theories are, if that shit jamming, then I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying attention. I'm tuned in. And so I don't get super deep into the Texas culture or super deep into the, I don't get down into Florida with it, super deep, but it definitely goes deeper than just what we heard on the radio.
Yeah, for me, man, it was really like where I grew up in Greensboro. It was the South, but it was very much a college town. So we had like a lot of, it was a melting pot. And the thing I always, tell people about where we grew up, and where I grew up, in Greensboro, man, the South, like where we're at, like kind of the mid-Atlantic region versus like the deep South. Those are two completely different energies, man. Like just two, because, in where we were, you had it was a heavy up north influence because it was, right along the 85, corridor. So you had just a lot of transplants coming from college. You know what I'm saying? You had, hustlers that was, in and out of town, bringing their music. You know what I mean? So it was a far bigger, even though we were in the South, it was a far bigger northern influence than would have been in Louisiana or Alabama or Mississippi. You know what I mean?
So you weren't getting that Miami-based sound or any of that Atlanta-based sound?
So interesting. So we got the Miami-based stuff, but the Miami-based stuff, that was like the party stuff. So like, anytime at a party, you would play, fucking any Luke record. I Wanna Rock would, that shit would go crazy. Scarred, of course, would go crazy. Magic Mike, he had a record, actually. Magic Mike had a record called Feel the Bass that they would play on the radio.
Yes, I remember that.
That record would feel the bass. Feel the bass. You know what I mean? So like that would get run. So you had those kind of records. It was almost kind of a I don't want to say it wasn't a novelty. It was kind of specialized.
It was college for sure.
Yeah, the Magic Mike stuff, that was for all the homies that had like subs in they trunk and shit. And so they would run that shit.
So everybody. Because that shit was everybody. Everyone took the seats out,
Right. No, for real. It was the bass stuff.
Listen, we grew up with that shit. You had no back seat.
Nah, bro, it's like straight up. And to that point, it was very much with the bass music. It was more so car culture than it was, say, hip hop culture. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, it was hip hop and all love and respect, all that. But just where we were, the people that were into like the heavy bass stuff, they were more car dudes than they were dudes that wanted to rap. You know what I mean? So the Southern stuff for me, I grew up around it. I was experienced to it, but I really didn't get schooled to it until I came to college in 97. And I had a buddy of mine, my homie Tex. We used to call him Tex. He was from Texas, and we went to school together. And he started putting me up on, ESG, Lil Kiki, the guys at Swisher House, Fat Pat, Big Pokey, he really put me on to all that back then. I was like, oh shit, DJ DMD, 25 Lighters, just that album, the PA Worldwide, he really kind of got me into that. So that was kind of how the Deep South stuff, that was how we got into it.
So as I said when we started this interview, we may go over that 45-minute mark, and I think we're almost approaching 2 hours. So I have a few more questions. Poor Pooh's friend is waiting for me. He's like, yo, I'm going in the car for 5 minutes.
we done dapped up and all that already. When I went off camera, we dapped up. He was going to bed. We good.
Right. So I appreciate hanging there just a little bit more. I have a few more questions. I'm going to wrap this up really quick, but there's so much I want to ask. There's so much listeners had requested we ask on their behalf, so I will try to make this quick, but thank you for hanging in there 2 hours. See, look, you joined KRS-One. We were like, it's gonna be 30 minutes. It was 2.5 hours by the time he was done. So, shit happens. You're flexing your whole southern muscle. You're rattling off everybody. Little Kiki the Don, and come on, man.
Hey, what up? This is Lil Kiki the Don, representing H-Town. Right now, you're listening to Take It Personal with the homies, Phil of Flavor, Kev Law, and DJ 360.
Nah, man, listen, man, Don, Fat Pat, goddamn, Big Mo, like that, the Perfect World album. Don, that's what she...
Hey, from your area, you know who I bet you're a big fan of, I am too, from your area that I put in your world, that Mid-Atlantic sound, man, Odyssey.
Oh man, Odyssey. Man.
Oh yeah, Odyssey. Brother,
yo. Yeah, Odyssey.
That's that Mid-Atlantic sound.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, man, Odyssey. That's my brother, man. Odyssey. We was he was on the first Foreign Exchange album, and him, Kev Brown,
another one.
Yeah, Kev Brown. That's my brother, man. I love Kev, man. But all those guys, I remember them coming down and coming to my crib and sleeping on the floor of my apartment, to record their verses for Connected, you know what I'm saying? And, we still to this day, those are my dudes, man. Cause they believed, we all kind of believed in each other early on. So now Odyssey, that's family, man.
I feel like this is wrestling, Mid-Atlantic regions and shit. That's like the wrestling shit,
Yeah. If we get into wrestling, we'll be here for another 2 more hours.
Oh yeah. Don't even start with that shit.
All right. Here's what I want to ask you. You both worked with Murs. Murs is a friend of the show, cool homie. Give me real quick a Murs story or memory both of you have by working with him.
I think for me it was me when we did when they did 316, and I wasn't on 316, and so I will always talk to him about it because me and Murs kind of connected outside of making music. And so I was always joking.
Damn, I just realized, I'm sitting there realized, damn, you wasn't on 316.
Nah, I wasn't on 316.
I thought I'm like, damn, you wasn't. Wow. Okay.
Nah, but he ended up on Sleepers, and then I was on the second one. I can't remember what it was called, but the second
Murray's Revenge.
We did Barbershop, but I think for me, the biggest thing was our introduction to Murs. We was on tour. We was on the High Road tour, and we were in LA, House of Blues, and we just see this guy pop up at the RV at the door with CDs in his hand, yo, I'm Murs, living legends. I'm coming to North Carolina to work with Nights. What's up? And I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know you. I don't care. My name isn't Ninth, but that was my introduction to Murs. And then when I see him in North Carolina, the only guy I know who was in the party with us with pajama pants on, he was ahead of his time.
He's a dude I'll be rocking Zubas like it's nothing.
I thought it was going to be a drugstore, so there you go.
No drug stores. No drug stores.
First time I met him, he was wearing Zubas.
Phonte, what's your Murs story?
Man, Murs, man, he and I, man, he just, I love that dude, man. Murs is just a solid dude, and just one of the few just kind of genuine, just, you know, souls in the game, you know what I mean? But nah, man, I remember like 316. I remember doing, we did, he wanted me to do a hook I did a hook for the rain, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I did it and I just thought it was kind of, I'm like, y'all really want me to do it? He's like, yeah, man, sing that shit. I'm like, all right. So I just did it and we just thought it was funny. It was something we was all laughing at, but I mean, the shit was jamming, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So later on, before he was about to go back, he had one last record. And at the time he had, the record was The Animal. And so I remember that session. That was really one of the early sessions I remember. I think Crisis engineered the session. And I remember Ninth was there and he was there at first and he was just like, yo, like Tay, he was like, I know Tay got it. He's like, I'm good. Like I'm about to bounce. You know what I mean? He's like, I know Tay got the session, like it's cool. And because that was kind of my idea. The idea was that to me, that beat, it sounded like some Havoc shit. And I just thought it would be dope to have a West Coast MC on like a East or like a very East Coast sounding joint. And so in the spirit of it sounding like a Havoc kind of mob record, I wanted to put Scudder on the hook because he kind of had that dark kind of Prodigy tone, you know what I'm saying? So it was, you know, it was more or less a Mobb Deep tribute that me and Murs rapped on. But I remember doing that record, you know, we did it, you know, we did our verses and, you know, we put it together and stuff. And he was like, yo, man, this shit is hard. And so from that point on, like he and I, we were always cool, man. And Murs just, I saw how much he really bet on himself. I remember he did the Paid Dues Festival and, you know, talked about like losing like crazy money doing that shit. You know what I mean? So, nah, man, those are some of my early memories. Murs, just, you know, solid dude and just, you know, amazing artist and just a real dude.
And shout out to Murs because Murs actually took me out on my first solo run. Like that was going out with him and Kids in the Hall. That was my first time touring as a solo act. And that was like one of the best tours of my life. Just going out with him.
Cool. I love hearing stories of, you know, like that. You mentioned Phonte about hooks. There was like a point in time, it seemed like you were on your Nate Dogg shit. Like you were doing hooks for everybody. Like Something to Ride To by Royce or like I'll Be There, Mac Miller. Like just the ones that come to my mind.
Percy Miracles was busy.
Yeah.
Listen, man, he had child support to pay.
Yeah.
You've always flexed your vocal muscles, but when did you feel completely comfortable going that route? I mean, obviously you had to for Foreign Exchange, but at what point in your career were you like, you know what, you know, I could do this?
I think it was by the time we got to the fourth Foreign Exchange album, Love and Flying Colors in 2013. Like that was when I felt like I finally found my voice as a singer and had the confidence to do it. Singing was something that we did as a kid. I mean, I did it, you know, singing in church and whatever, but you know, it was something I never really took seriously like that. And even the early LB records of me doing the hook for Speed and stuff like that, you know, they were kind of meant to just be placeholders, you know what I'm saying? Like singing good enough just to get the idea down and then someone else come and do it over. But we just kind of kept it. And so after the listening, that was when people would hit me like, yo, I want a verse, but yo, I want you to do a hook too. And I was surprised. I was like, word, like you want me to sing? I remember my man, Dave Ghetto, like he hit me. We did a record where it was me, him, and Mystic, I think, was on it. But you know, he was like, oh, I want a hook on. I was like, word? I was like, okay.
I know we're struggling, but we got to find a way. Through all our ups and downs, we'll see a bright today. Hey, my money comes and goes, see my highs and lows, but I don't cry because I know I finally got to find my way.
So yeah, that was it. But yeah, I really wanted to just I really wanted to be a songwriter. Like my goal was always to be the guy in the parentheses. You know what I mean? You know, because that dude gets a check forever. You know,
So
what
you
I mean?
should have been the Tevin Campbell tape.
You feel me? Yo, fuck, nigga, I had the Tevin Campbell tape. Like, Alone With You is on my slow jam playlist to this day. That song would never fucking die. I love him, Campbell.
Pooh, your mom should have taken him to the store.
Right.
She chose right for me.
I know
she chose right. Yeah.
Oh,
But that was when I started. That was 2013. I think that was when I really got the confidence. And you know, after we got the Grammy nomination for Leave It All Behind, I mean, those were songs that I wrote and essentially were kind of using it just to show my skills as a songwriter. You know, we never expected like the Grammy nomination and like us touring. You know, Nick and I, we always kind of looked at the Foreign Exchange. We were on like some Steely Dan shit. Like we were really just a studio band in that way. But then when the album hit and it was like, we getting calls for shows, like, oh shit, like we got to put a band together. What the fuck, you know?
So did that Grammy thing bump you guys?
It did. I mean, it maybe put some eyes on us that, you know, that probably hadn't before. But I mean, you know, it was kind of hard to measure what effect it had, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I think it had a positive effect. But it definitely bumped us in the sense of like this thing that we were just doing as a side project, just getting ideas off as a studio band. Once we got the Grammy nomination, then it was like, oh, okay, like we have to be a band now. And how do we do that? And so that was kind of my singing journey. So yeah, 2013, I think that was when I really accepted and grew into my singing ability and just really had that confidence.
Cool. Wow. Pooh, what did Mom Dukes think of this album cover?
Don't know.
Ain't no cream in that coffee.
Jay, this is an audio show. Which album?
So the album, if you first of all, everyone should know the album because I want to know who the chick is. But it's this came out in 2008, 2009. I can't remember.
Man, I don't even know. I know Delightful Bars.
Delightful Bars. It features a very, very blonde, very Nordic-looking woman, and with some something pasties or sand over her areolas. But
that is told.
What was the idea behind this? Do tell.
So I actually have 4 different album covers. I had so many songs,
and you chose this.
No, that's one. that was the physical. If you go on iTunes, iTunes, I got an iTunes version with an Asian woman.
Okay.
I had another version with a black woman. I actually had 2 versions with black women that they were supposed to have been like imports or whatever. But so the idea behind that was our guy Tobias Rose. If you've ever seen Boomerang, when Eddie Murphy is depressed because Robin Givens, you know, played him like a man, and he let Nelson go and do whatever he wanted with the commercial.
This is my vision. It is fabulous. Fabulous. Stranger. It sticks so good.
Big mistake.
That's what we call Tobias Rose. We call him Nelson. If you give him an inch, he's going to go 5 miles. So I gave him an idea, and he came back with, okay, I got another idea. What if we do this, and because he was the photographer, he was the art director, he did all of that.
He paid himself. Good.
Listen, I was just like, like it was one of them things where I just let him run, and you know, we ended up with the Nordic woman on one version, the Asian woman on version, and hey, look, man, shout out to Tobias Rose, man, aka Nelson.
Well, Nelson's dead because he just got run over by the bus. But listen, you actually had Kendrick Lamar on here before a lot of people even knew Kendrick was, because Section 80 came out in 2011, and this was 2009. You had, and by the way, the album, was it intentional to have a little different sound? Like you had Jake One on here, you had Oh No, so there was a little more of that West Coast influence, so to speak, on this album than a traditional, Little Brother.
Yeah. First of all, I'm a West Coast guy at heart. I believe in another life. I was born in California, in LA to be exact.
Okay.
But for me, I was just always one of them people. Once I really started to find my artistic voice, that's where I was leaning. Like that's what inspired me. That's what I felt. So I leaned that way, and I leaned all the way in. And it was those producers are producers I wanted to work with. And the funny thing about that record with Kendrick Lamar, that record was only supposed to have Ab Soul on it. and
that J-Rock as well.
Yeah, so I sent it to Dave Free because we had connected via MySpace, and I went out to LA and met with him, and we got up. So I sent the record. I was like, "Yo, I want Ab Soul on this." And when he sent it back, he was like, "Yo, I'm sorry, Pooh. I put K Dot. That's what he started to. I put K Dot and J-Rock on it." So I heard it, and I was like, "Shit, it's good how it is."
This is the part where we run hip hop and we don't need props. We know we the shit. This is the part where we run hip hop, so get them hands high. I'm yelling at my real niggas, move it. My real bitches, move it. I promise I'ma move it. If they don't, we do it. The best, I swear they give you nothing less, nothing less. Never pledge allegiance, God-given flow. I can now preach a deacon once the words get to speaking. Give me a reason why I'm not the best breathing. They worship the ground I walk on, though I'm harder than cement. Sticking to the streets like convertible oil leaks. Portable handgun, who wanna test? I can pass out many scantrons. Fail many students trying to play the true is. Dumber than Three Stooges, how much we steady cruising. Like time do, higher than a vanilla sky. Float by you, when I'm through, I probably let you take it back like my old prom suit that I wore with the tag.
They smoked it, they killed it. And yeah, man, it was just one of them things, man. I heard, them guys, and once I was introduced to them, and I loved what they were doing, the energy they had. They were students of the game, and they reminded me a lot of just us in certain ways. And it was dope just to have that relationship with them, and that that kindred spirit with them guys. And but that album, that was kind of me really leaning fully into branching out from what people typically heard of me, and leaning kind of into what who I was, or who I was becoming, or who I felt I was becoming artistically. And that was more of the sound that had interested me and inspired me at the time.
Got it. Okay. Hey, we heard you a bunch of times with the Roots. One time, The Day, Now or Never. That was like, what? That was 2010, 2011?
Yeah, 2010, yeah, man.
I know they're sitting on many albums, and one's probably going to be coming out in the next year or so, hopefully. Do you have more material with them that you have recorded?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not a lot. I mean, I think so. When we did How I Got Over, I first did They Called Me for Now and Never, and then it was another record. It was Now and Never. I did that one first, and then They Called Me Back for The Day. And then there was another song that we did that didn't get released. It was kind of like this, it was kind of like some Al Green sounding shit that I rhymed on and I did a hook on. It was called Make a Move. I remember that. It was just called Make a Move. But it never got released. And but no, we did that one. And then for Undone, which is the 2011 record, I did one time. That was the one I was on. But originally they were going to have me on, they wanted to put me on the song Make My. And I remember Rich Nichols, who was their manager at the time, God rest his soul, he hit me and he was like, yo, we got this joint And he said, I want to get, we're going to get you on it. You Reek, he said. And the third rapper, he said, we trying to decide either between Big Crit or Rick Ross. And I said, yo, man, y'all need to go with Crit. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with Ross. Ross is dope. But I said, I think for the song, what y'all talking about, like, I think Crit would be a better fit for that. And, they went with Crit. And I actually put myself out of a job on that one because they went with Crit. And then, Amir, he added like this fucking 2-minute like outro to it and shit. And so when it was finished, I was talking to Rich and he was like, yeah, man. He said Crit just kind of came straight down the middle with his verse. We didn't. And then Amir did that long thing at the end. He said we didn't need a third verse. I was like, dude, the song is the song. The shit is perfect. Like it didn't need me, So those were like the two joints, those some of the joints. But yeah, man, those guys, I mean, just, you talking inspirations, big brothers, just the whole nine. And anytime I got called to work with them, it was always just an honor and a blessing. And, I always want to put my best foot forward.
You said Crit, and it made me think immediately of the Life is King's video. Shout outs to Mom, who was like pretty much the star of the video. I mean,
man, listen.
Hey, that's a cut. So we're gonna have to set up for Crit next. Ev missed his flight, so that's kind of where we're at. We just have to go straight to Crit.
I know the verse.
Ma, I ain't putting you in a video. Ma, no, just no.
But I know the verse. Real talk, I know the verse. I'm a king.
Bruh, my mama, she really, like, she was so sincere. Like, she was so serious. Like, she really wanted to rap for real. Like, my mom is crazy. but she killed that. And that, what y'all saw in the video, that was the first take. That was I just kind of told her what the setup was. She was like, all right. And then we hit record, and she did it just like that. So, yeah, shouts to Mom. She a G.
Yeah, that was another great collab though. You worked a lot with Evidence throughout the years. It seems like there's been a reoccurring thing there. You guys and Ev.
Yeah, man. Ev was somebody who, and I told Ev this. Ev was really somebody who I looked at as a model of how to transition from being in a group into being a solo artist. He put out the Weatherman album in 2007, and then he did the Layover EP. With like Crisis did some records on that. We did the Whom the Bell Tolls record with me, Blue, and will.i.am, and we shot the video for that. You know what I mean? He was just somebody that I really looked to as a model, and we talked about it. And I would tell him, I was like, yo, Ev, man, I rock with your solo shit, even more than the Dilated stuff. You know what I mean? Like, Dilated stuff was dope as well. Like, that's family, but his solo stuff, I'm like, man, you really kind of tapping into like some other shit with this. This shit is hard. So yeah, Ev is definitely just one of our kind of kindred spirits in this thing. And another ABB Records.
ABB.
Refugee.
Yeah. You guys commiserate over Benny B and the good years.
Can we touch on Crisis for a minute? This is a dude I think that deserves more accolades and more attention. And he gives me the vibe. Now, I may be off on this, but he gives me the vibe, and I'm talking like early LB. He gives me the vibe of K-Def to Marley Marl.
That is a deep pull, but I think that's very accurate. Yeah. Crisis, man, and we, talked about it in the doc, but like Crisis, for me, for many years, Crisis really was my right ear in the studio. You know what I mean? By the time 2004 came around, Pooh, would you say? Like 04? Do you feel like?
Yeah, 04.
Yeah,
04.
Yeah, by the time like 04 came around, Crisis was our full-time engineer. So by the time we were recording records, like I started work and finished up work on Connected in 2004. By the time we got to those last couple records, like All That You Are and the Answer with Odyssey and all them, like Crisis, he did those. He engineered the records, and I would be in there with him you know, we'll be figuring out like, okay, what reverb we want to use or what effect we want to do here or this and that. We were kind of figuring all that shit out together. And particularly when I started doing Foreign Exchange, Leave It All Behind, Crisis was my vocal engineer for that album. And so he and we spent just for many years, like just in the studio together, late nights, just fucking just going in. So man, Crisis he's amazing, man. He just always really had that gift, and is just one of my favorite beat makers, you know.
How'd y'all find each other?
Sean Don actually found Crisis.
Oh wow, all right.
Crisis was in high school, and he would I think he would come up to the radio station or something, and Sean Don ended up meeting him, and you know, saw he made beats and brought him to our attention. And you know, February 8th, 19th anniversary of my debut album, Sleepers. But I often say that's Crisis' debut album as well. He recorded, you know, most of that album and obviously did beats on it. And I always consider that kind of his true coming out party was the Sleepers album. And that album wouldn't have got done. There it is. The actual second version of that song. But yeah, I always say that album wouldn't have happened without Crisis. It doesn't happen without Crisis. So, because just like Tay and Crisis figuring things out when they were doing Leave It All Behind, me and Crisis was figuring a lot of things out recording Sleepers. So
crazy talented.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more, Scudder. How'd you guys? How'd that come together, Joe Scudder?
Scudder was the hype man for DJ MC, who what did DJ what
he ran a halfway house basically.
Well, yeah, he ran a halfway house, but yeah, he was a hype man for DJ MC, and Ninth ended up living with DJ MC for a period of time, and that's kind of how they met. And you know, Ninth kind of introduced him, you know, to the crew, and you know, me and Scudder fell in. We were super close because we were partying. So we got super close, and me and Scudder got an album worth of cuts sprawled over every fucking Justice League release throughout the years. But you know, that's kind of how he like kind of came in, you know, via Ninth, via MC. And once he was in the fold, he was there. The energy was there, and yeah.
Wade, any other questions? Maybe want to do a track by track of the Chitlin circuit.
I like Wade's actually Marley Marl pronunciation. It's the hard L.
Yeah, that Marley Marl K-Dep, yo, big props to that one. That real
but
live
it's the hard L. Marley Marl.
It was just giving me those vibes, man.
Well, respect on that. That K-Dep was like, yeah, man, that was my dude. His because I think he did Mad Props by the Youngsters, and that's like, that was my record. I love it.
He did pretty much anything that had Marley Marl on it from 1990.
Yeah. There's that L again.
90.
All the low tug, man.
All the low tug shit. Nah, straight up. Nah, in the real live album, like that shit has some shit on it. So, nah, big ups to Larry. Big ups to him, man.
When I'm gonna try to do my best to wrap this up soon, because talking about sleepers and Phonte, I think, is laying down on his bed right now. He's trying to go to sleep.
You're doing a set G. He's gonna get the sleeping bag.
He got that Teddy Pendergrass vibe going on right now. When I like want to listen to like a song of each of yours that like I want to point to somebody and say, hey, this is Phonte, or this is Pooh, I'll probably go to like Dreaming in Color or The Good Fight. Like I know I put The Good Fight, those songs, like they're so vivid. They show your vulnerability, but it also captures like the brilliance that both of you can, put together in music. So what are like maybe one song in your catalog, your lustrous catalog, that you would say best represents you?
All right, we'll put some sauce on this one. We'll pick each other's. I think me and Pooh should pick each other.
Go ahead. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Yeah. So for Pooh, if I had to pick one, I know it's gonna be something off of To Dream in Color, and I would probably say, well, no. Okay, I mean, yeah, or maybe do 1A, 1B. I'll say for Pooh, Right on Time, his verse on Right on Time on May the Lord Watch was just that was just a level of vulnerability that he had never really shown before. And I remember him talking about, he was like, yeah, man, I was going to change the line of me talking about driving, doing Uber pickups. And I'm just like, bro, are you crazy? Like, that's the heart of the shit. Like, how many people would have the guts and just to be that real about it? Like, you know what I mean? And so we did it and we kept it and the record came out. And, you know, it was so many people that was hitting him, was hitting me. And I'm like, bro, that wasn't even my verse.
Yo, rapper Pooh, how you feel?
Doing great, I mean to feel good, eating from a full plate. Cause I remember days when a nigga had to scrape, dropping down to both knees, begging God for a way. Took some odd jobs to put salmon on the plate, contemplating moving dope to make sure my pocket's straight. Mom used to tell me he don't make no mistakes. Son, swallow your pride, I'm just trying to find a place. Doing Uber pickups, they don't recognize the face, and that's bittersweet. Trying to reconcile the fact that I never sleep. With a dry Jeff Gordon will be proud of. Make sure to bounce back louder. Common sense like gunpowder. Confident showers. I continue adding up all the hours. 10,000, 20,000, 40 now. I'ma keep adding up till I'm in the ground.
But it was real dudes like hitting. It's like, yo, man, like, and it wasn't just, it was regular dudes, but it was also dudes in the game that was just like, hey, yo, man, that Uber line, yo, that shit was real, because shit got real for me for a minute. I kind of had to, you know, so I think that, and I think just an extension of that with Your Dream in Color, that was really for me, because, you know, he brought me and asked me to executive produce that album, you know, with him, and like, that was just something that I saw in him as a writer. That was just a focus and a vulnerability and just a targeted, it was just a focus in him that I had never seen before, you know what I mean? And it just showed his growth as a writer and his, you know, maturity as a writer that I just thought was amazing.
Square pizzas for lunch, chocolate milk and a honey bun. This what they want, no nutrition. I'm listening to the teachers talk while outside niggas walk the walk. Was trying to help with the bill money. 3 generations deep, we ain't never seen no real money. I used to dream that I would break the cycle, shock the world like my name was Michael, get 5 stars in hip-hop's Bible. I'm dreaming. Rosie always told me that I was a star, and no matter where you go, remember who you are. By far the best advice I ever received, and to believe that I didn't take time to really grieve your loss. No words can describe what you meant. I would give up every sin if it meant that you was here still. On the real, you never got to see your grandson so handsome in the magazines. Baby, I'm dreaming.
Yeah, for me, I would say, that joint off May Lord Watch and the Right on Time, and then on To Dream in Color, I'll probably go with, let me pick one. I'll probably go with Changing Again. Changing Again, for me, he was using his voice on the hook in a way that he had never really used it before. Like, he wasn't singing, but he was just using his voice in like a melodic way, that as an instrument that he had never used. And that shit was hard as fuck. So that'll be my pick.
For me, that's easy. Maybe She'll Dream of Me. That's my favorite song. I just told Tay the other day, like, I play that song at least once a week.
Thinking that you're out of my league, walking around looking like something right out of my dreams. People saying me and you was like the finest cheerleader, going with the dude that got picked last for the team. But desire's a miraculous thing. When your soul get ravenous, all you want is just a little happiness, and you would gladly grab it from the average things, no matter how it look or how absurd that it seems. So it's pertinent to stay with what is working. I mean, even if your perfect person is alerted by screams and whispers and yells and wows, and how are they together, man? I just can't believe this is something that the OGs call composure. Keep me in mind, baby, you're my star, and I know we aligned. Sweet candy for me and my dreaming eyes, and when I lay down at night, maybe you'll be in mine.
Funny enough, not that song, but Two Step Blues. When I got married,
Take Off the Blues. It was Take Off the Blues.
Take Off the Blues. My Two Step Blues is our song. I'm tripping. Take Off the Blues. When I got married, my wife let me pick the song we danced to, and
And I didn't know that they were gonna dance to that. That shit dropped. I was like, what the fuck? Like
nobody knew but me and the DJ. So my wife didn't even know. So first I played Joy by Blackstreet, and then he faded out and then went into Take Off the Blues, and that's forever.
Damn, I forgot, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Joy, I played that. That was my wedding song too.
After all is said and done, you're next to me. And when the sun goes down, you're feeling things you never felt before. Nothing left to say to ease your fears, but I know just what to do. Let me take good care of you. Kick off your shoes, take off the blues and come to you. So much to do, so much is new for you to see. You might as well come a little closer. Girl, don't make me wait too long for you.
That was that we did. That's fucking crazy.
But nah,
you biting, man. You biting my shit.
maybe she'll dream of me. That's my favorite. That's my favorite song, man. Like I just asked him the other day, like, bro, what was you on when you wrote that? Cause like I just gotta know. I need the scoop. But just the way it's put together is very concise. Is him. I can hear the confidence in his voice. That I hadn't heard before, because he even talked about it. Like he sung more so on early Little Brother records as placeholders, and he sung on subsequent Foreign Exchange records. But that album, that Foreign Exchange album, and that song in particular, just really, I heard it all for him. The confidence come full, like it was right in your face, and just the songwriting has always been spectacular. But I love that song. Like,
thank you, man.
Yeah, you can't. When I was driving Uber, okay, I made a playlist because you got all types of people get in your car. So I had a playlist, and that song was on my playlist. And I'll never forget, a guy got in the car, and that song was on, and he didn't really see me, but he was just like, "Oh man, I love that song. What you know about the Foreign Exchange?" And I just started laughing. Man, I just love this song, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, maybe she'll dream of me. Yeah.
That's
great.
awesome.
That's
and
great.
and I think it's so rare that an artist would do what you do and say what you would say. Like you talk about, like, you don't have dental insurance because you make rap for a living, you know what I'm saying? So like you have to go out and work to get these things, and that's refreshing. That's why I love guys. I'm gonna give a shout out to our boy Superstition, who
no doubt, that's family. Hell yeah,
who's not afraid to be himself. And I think when an artist can get to that point, they start making the best music possible, because the fans themselves can relate to that. And once you become relatable, there's an undeniable bond between the music that you make and the listeners that listen to it,
Oh no, man, no. It was, listen, I mean, that is something that, I was talking to my wife the other night, and we was talking about how the relationship with the audience changes, like when we were first starting out, people would stop. We'd see people like, "Oh, little brother, I love your music. Can you sign this or whatever?" And it would just be a 2-second interaction. You know what I mean? Now it's, "Hey man, this record got me through my divorce, and my kids are now going to college, and this album got me through that." Like, people, they really want to talk to you about like their lives.
That's
What I mean?
That's impact.
It's impact. Yeah, no, and it just requires a totally different. It requires just a totally different, putting you in that state of mind of like, okay, this is a lot of energy I'm about to receive. And I know it's coming from a good place, but it's like, oh my God, like, you know what? And I remember hearing conversations like with, Jazzy Jeff, early on. And he was just talking about how with Jill Scott, when they did her first album and after it came out, people would be coming up to her like, "Yo, we'll be showing them like their scars from where they tried to kill themselves. And it was like, your music was the only thing that got me through it. And it's just like, holy shit. Like,
wow.
What? You know what I mean? So it would be moments like that, you know what I mean? And over all these years, the relationship with the audience does change because you've literally grown up together. So nah, man, it's refreshing and kind of overwhelming as well. But it is just, you know, very humbling to know that for me and Pooh to both know that we are in service of something bigger than ourselves. And I think that was what the lesson was for us coming back. And we brought LB back in 2019 and doing the doc, we realized that in those 9 years we were apart, we could no longer leave the garden unattended. You know, we had built something that really just, you know, was bigger than either one of us individually. And it was something that we had a responsibility to keep going, you know what I'm saying, and to keep nurturing in whatever way we wanted to, but we could no longer just be like, I ain't talking to you no more, fuck this LB shit. And it's just like, nah, we can't do that. No more. Like, we can't.
And after all these years of success and all that, it kind of brings you back to when you loved hip hop, when you love
100%.
music.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't get those moments back anymore. It's like when you remember why it meant so much, what it meant when you made your first record. You know, people can't get that shit back.
May the Lord Watch was kind of our, you know, me and Pooh talk all the time. That was really, you know, for me is, you know, the people who talk favorite Little Brother album. I mean, that's subjective. That's, you know, taste. For us, you know, the best Little Brother album is May the Lord Watch. I mean, period. You know what I mean? Just that was the closest we had gotten to recreating our first album, and that no one knew we were working on it. Like no one, by the time we announced that it was coming, that shit was damn near already done. You know what I'm saying? It was very close to being done. And so that gave us a chance to really go back to that bubble and just really lock in and just do us without any outside eyes working on it. And it definitely, for me, it reconnected and reinvigorated my love for the group again.
Well, I have 50 more questions, but I'm going to leave you with one. And the most important one. It's been since, 2019 you guys released? August, I think it was a summer album, May the Lord Watch. When can we expect the next LB album?
Well, in the words of D.L. Hewley, you can expect an album whenever you want. Yeah, you can expect whatever. You expect one tomorrow, next week. You expect
an album, but we're working. You'll definitely hear us, you know, on
more music is coming.
More music. And you can check out our big brother Focus. He just put out a single featuring, you know, us. Put out last week, but
big ups to Focus, man.
But yeah, I mean, more music is coming. We both, you know, after 5 years of working on a documentary, 2 years of the pandemic, of quarantine, I'll say.
Doing the block party.
Yeah, doing the block party, and just all, like, we finally, you know, both agree, like, yeah, it's time to sit down and actually get back in the studio and work on some things. So, you know, you'll definitely hear some more music coming. You know, what it is, you'll hear it.
Yeah, if it's an album, a single, an EP, it could be something, but yeah, we're not locked into just doing just albums anymore. Like, we just, at this point in our lives, Little Brother, anything, you know, Pooh says it, you know, the best. Anything you see us doing together, that's Little Brother. You know what I mean? But, you know, when we put the doc out, one of the biggest compliments we received, one of the guys at the screening was like, yo, this joint felt like a Little Brother album. He's like, it felt like this doc felt like an album. I'm like, yo, that was the intention. We wanted it to feel like that. So anything we do, I mean, it could be a food truck. It could be a goddamn, man, shit. Like, bro, it could be any damn thing. It could be a cooking class. I don't know. Like, but
if you see both of us there, that's Little Brother.
That's Little Brother, straight up.
You guys could remake the Odelay album if you want. Like, that would be something.
Hey, to get up. Who is fucking Gerald?
This dude again.
Oh, my God. So Gerald, yeah. So
I'll shut up after this, Jay.
Oh no, it's cool, man. Nah, Gerald, that's Eccentric. That was the producer. Eccentric, he's a member of the Justice League, and you know, an incredible producer at the time. He was just making stuff. He's dope. He did the beat for the Get Up. But Gerald his name Patrick Williams, but he had he was making beats. Don't was crazy. He had a hard drive crash and like lost everything. This was in like sometime in like 2003, 4, some shit like that. Shortly after he made that beat, and he ended up going to law school, and so now he's a lawyer. He's been a lawyer for like the last, 20 plus years. So yeah, that's the homie Eccentric. That's fucking Gerald.
I tied it up in a nice bow, and then Wade just unravels it. Here, look, bonus round. Did RZA ever get at you guys for Atari 2600? Like, have you ever heard a conversation where he caught wind of it?
Robert Diggs, commonly known as the RZA, being accompanied by Mr. Jeffrey
Yeah, man, I never did. I never heard nothing.
Nah, and I actually sat at a table with RZA at the MTV Woody Awards. So he was our table mate, and he said nothing of the such.
Yeah, I don't think he really. I don't know if he even heard it, but no, man. Someday, I mean, if I'm putting this out into the world, just somehow, I really want to get RZA and Jeffrey Osborne to do. I don't know how. I don't know what it's gonna be for. It was something. Yeah. It was something we thought about doing. I thought about bringing it to the guys when I was working on Sherman Showcase on AMC with my guys Diallo and Bashir, but it was just imagining how to explain to Jeffrey Osborne. It's like, dude, this is not gonna make any sense. But if you do this, you are gonna get a whole new set of fans that will fuck with you. There's a whole group of rap nerds that will bow at you for doing this.
All right, Jeffrey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sample On the Wings of Love, and we're gonna fucking remake it with RZA's fucking dirty ass basement beats that you can barely fucking hear anything but bass. And you're gonna get a whole new crowd. They're all gonna love you.
Man. That was the pitch basically. So but nah, man, I never heard nothing about it or nothing like that. We toured with Meth and everything, and nah, I mean, I think it was. I don't think it was never no smoke. I think if they did hear it.
No. But even hearing it, it's kind of funny. He, he heard it. But I mean, I can go on, but it's late, and I can't thank you guys enough. And I would love to do it again, but don't be scared to come back on the show if it's a 3-hour show next time.
Nah, man, we can do it. It just can't be starting at 11 o'clock.
We just gonna start a little earlier.
Yeah,
we need to get I'm all about it.
Ask Andre where he was before he jumped on his interview. Ask him. Go ahead.
Man, my wife made me go see some dumbass play Fiddler on the Roof. It was, it was what it was. I had to do some fucking family time. And then when we were talking about the interview, I'm like, all right, guys, I cannot do Thursday night. I'm just giving you a heads up. So Jay's like, hey, man, we got him on Thursday night, 10:30. And I'm like, why y'all fucking my shit up? You know where I should be right now, but it ain't happening. So
Dre, are you totally off topic, off quick? Are you by chance any related to John Prine?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Boy. John Prine. The John Prine, the singer, is like a distant uncle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He passed away. So
yeah, he died in 2020. Yeah.
And my brother is John Prine, and when he was at the University of Tennessee, he did a concert, and it was John Prine interviews John Prine. It was just like a weird,
wow,
man.
That. Okay, respect.
Yeah.
That's the music, the student in Phonte, Yeah. I feel like Phonte was tired when he started this interview, but he can go another hour or two if we just start talking music and chopping it up. He could do the whole breakdown of Beck's catalog in chronological order.
I love talking music.
Text the fuck out.
All right. Did you listen to Bjork when she was with the Sugar Cubes or solo?
It was solo. So for me, the Dance in the Dark soundtrack, Post, I fuck with Post. But yeah, Telegram, that was like the remix EP. But yeah, I mentioned earlier, she had a record with it was the I Miss You joint, and I forgot who remixed it. I remember Nelly Hooper did a remix on that album as well. I cannot remember.
Those remixes were so good by Nelly Hooper. All the soul to soul shit. It was so good.
Yo, he's one of my bucket list people. I want to get him on Questlove Supreme, like him, Jazzy B, just that whole collective. But nah, man. And then Nelly Hooper, like his remix for his version, it was he did "I Want You" when Madonna cover "I Want You" by Marvin Gaye. Like he did that. That shit was hard as fuck. So,
good.
But yeah, that was kind of my Bjork. Yeah, Bjork, Tom York, Radiohead. Like no, that was kind of my bag at that time.
And go back and listen to Trevor Horn. He was like,
oh, come on, man. All the noise. What are you talking about, bro?
Everyone had a little moments in love in their fucking record box back in the day and beatbox on the flip.
Yeah, man. His production work for Seal, like I thought they had a really great partnership for those like first
phenomenal,
4 or 5 Seal albums, you know what I mean? But yeah, Trevor Horn's a beast.
And just to get you guys to realize, look, music, singles, they're all good. But there's nothing like in 20 years going back and saying, start to finish, that album was special. That album was this. It hit us. It's a specific time in our lives because we all have arcs, man. We all have beginnings, middles, ends, and then the fucking rebirth again. So albums speak volumes, man, because they're journeys that the two of you all take together. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts. I mean, and even with us with albums, man, it's not that we don't want to do one, whatever. I just think for us, for so long, we operated in a space, in the time when we came in, that was what you did. You had to make albums, that was the thing. You do the album to set up the tour, and then you tour and do all the things. But now we're in a place where, shit, what it takes to put out a single and all the accompanying visual content that you're gonna need behind it, it's like shit, it's
a machine.
Yeah, you got to have all of that. So it's like, hell, if I'm gonna put all that into an album that people gonna be over in 2 weeks versus a single, you know what I mean? But nah, man, I definitely agree that the album is a thing. I think for us, it's just about finding what I speak just for me. It's just kind of about finding what the story is. I think when we did Made a Lord Watch as the album, it really felt like the conclusion it felt like just kind of a circle being closed, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like completion, you know what I'm saying? And not that we would not make music again, but just we completed that story. And so we were doing another album. Yeah, I just don't know what the story is yet, you know what I mean? And it may take some time for it to reveal itself, but that's just kind of where I'm at now.
If I can get you Jeffrey Osborne, could we make an album happen?
Yeah, right. If you get Jeffrey, let's fucking go.
Here's my deal.
2025.
I'm gonna get you Jeffrey, and I got 2 unreleased verses from James Ingram. Can we make this happen?
James Ingram, rest in peace.
And then I got Sergio Mendes on the B side.
Yo, we go. Which Brazil? We get Brazil 66.
Yeah, let's get Brazil 66, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Now listen, you guys are real as fuck. I'm so sorry that I missed the beginning of the interview, the first hour or whatever, but so fucking cool, both of y'all. You just seem like we knew each other for a lifetime. So I appreciate just the time I got on with y'all. So
nah, man, thank you. That's love, man. And I thank y'all like for coming back and for us, still doing this show, just from the days of Phil of Flavor and and this time with us doing it now, man, it really has been several reunions and a lot of things have come full circle. So, to sit with you guys like 20 years later and see y'all like in y'all homes and, you going out with your wife, going to see plays and shit. Like, man, listen, it's beautiful to see hip hop grow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now this has been beautiful, man. I thank you guys for rocking with us and supporting us from day one, man. It means a lot.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Thank you again. I truly appreciate it. And
LB,
truly, thank you for everything. All right.
Appreciate you, man. Thank y'all, brothers. Have a safe night, man.
You too.
Night, guys.
You good?
All right. Peace. Yo, what up? This is Phonte.
It's the rapper Big Pooh.
Little brothers in the building, and right now you are checking out the Take It Personal show. Take it very personal. We want you to take it all the way personal. Go home at night and you can't sleep because you took it so personal. Take it so personal. When you go, you need extra sessions of therapy. Like, you take it so personal. LB, let's go.
Take it personal like Michael Jordan took it personally.
And then afterwards, listen to some Kitty Lattimore.
that new unreleased Kenny Lattimore.
The new unreleased Kitty Lattimore. Let's be clear now. You know, this is not out of available Kitty Lattimore.